Mm-hmm.
All right, because in some cases, I'm looking at these things trying to figure out what they'll be by the end of the year.
Do you want me to do a quick column for estimated end of the year?
Oh, why don't we,
I will, but they'll be piece by piece because some of them don't work that way.
the webinar has started.
All right, let's start going through line items. ARB permits 1,500. We have $383. The 1,500 seems wildly aggressive to me.
Why is it $1,500? What do they do with ARB? Oh, this is receipts.
This is charges for people coming to the ARB. And the way this works is if you're doing piddly little stuff, it's like $10. You have to basically be building a house for it to be significant.
It's $50 or sometimes it's $250.
Okay, but we've collected $380 in 9 months. Okay. So I doubt we're going to collect another $1,200 in the next 3 months.
Well, it'll be interesting. I can do the same thing I did last year, was go through and research what money was supposed to be collected.
It sounds low.
But yeah, well, we have not had as much activity this year.
Right. And so forecasting next year, I don't foresee many new houses being built. So I think this number's too high.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
You want to bring it down to 1,000?
That's still too high.
500?
500's probably low, but okay. I'd rather be low than high.
Yeah, agree.
500. Next, B poll. 38 projected. We're at 38,639
Already?
Well,
all comes in one.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. It all comes. It's kind of like, when is it due?
March 15th, I believe.
March 15th. Okay. So it's
I'll
March, whatever. And so a little more might come in. Do you really think we'll have another $5,000 coming in this year or next year?
I think because the amount of new businesses that we saw filing that had really low first year files, I think it's a good chance. And there's also, I think the town's going to experience a pretty big season. The places like Villaggio and everything that is a full year out of pandemic, because Q1 last year was still kind of shut doors. So that was my little estimate based on just new businesses filing.
But the year before was 30. This year's 38. I'm talking about schools 30, 38. What do we think on that? Does 5,043 seem reasonable to people? Is a little aggressive? What?
I think it's aggressive. I understand the theory. I'd just move it to 40 instead of 43.
Split the difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
40.
I mean, we're
40
just
it
guessing
is.
anyway.
Yep.
Okay.
FY18 was we budgeted 46.
FY18 budgeted 46.
FY18.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't know what the actuals were there.
Yeah.
Pull that.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where the world was a different place. Trump was president. And there were wild times. Virginia communication sales tax, we're at 3. That number looks like it ought to be 4. Unless I'm missing something, Nick. If we're at 3/4, we're 3/4 of the way through the year, we have $3,000.
Yeah, it can come down. We ended the previous year at 4,200. We expected it to go a little bit of increase, but it didn't.
Yeah.
We can bring it back down to
4,000. All right.
All right.
What's up with the car rental? Damn. You know, all this stuff is actually based on things people are doing and amounts the Commonwealth's collecting and then redistributing. And what I see is things are just down.
Mm-hmm.
People aren't running as many cars. That number,
Yeah, for the car rental, do we want to bring that down too?
oh yeah, and the question is to what? So
Line 10.
23, 24, 24 is 8 is 32. You could make it 32.
Yeah,
32 is what it was previous year.
All right.
you're on a different line there, bud. We're looking at line 10, I think.
Oh, we're okay. Got it.
Line
No.
10, but up one. Yeah, there you go.
Got it.
Organic,
Yep.
No, 2300.
Missed it by one.
23.
Getting closer,
Missed it
though.
by
Getting
that
closer.
much.
That was a great show. All right, Cox, blah, blah, blah. Boy, these are all, this is actually quite interesting. I don't know, the next one down, 3,100.
Where
Yeah.
are you?
Cox and
Yeah.
Verizon PEG franchise revenue and state
Yeah,
communication.
it's
sales.
gonna go down. Because people are moving to streaming and that doesn't get picked up by the state.
All right, 3,000.
Internet consumption doesn't get picked up by the state at all.
No, it isn't a franchise fee.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Cord cutting. It's fun.
Huh.
All right,
There have been a lot of court cases and so far the streamers have won. They're avoiding the fees.
motor vehicle tags. Here's a question. We're at 6,200. That's much lower than previous years, I think.
Well, that's only 3/4 of the year, right?
Well, but what I don't know is, doesn't that, like, I don't think that happens throughout the year. Doesn't that all
It does.
come
We get a
out?
monthly deposit for motor.
Hmm.
We
Yeah,
ended up last
tags
year at
tags expire at
7,200.
random times, so.
Yeah, but this is when your property tax is paid, you also are tagged with the annual Clifton
Right.
$35 or something. So
And
Right,
that's
so it's
paid in
not-
October.
paid in October, yeah. So I'd move this down to
7,000.
I think that's still too high.
Well, the previous
65?
year ended at 7,200.
Yeah,
And the bulk of let's see, Q4, well, in this instance, the next 3 months last year brought in about the bulk of it, like you said, is October. The next bulk is beginning of the year, and then there's probably about $600 coming at the rest of the year. So 7,000 would be good. If we're going to be on the conservative side on the revenue.
Yeah.
all right, 7,000. 7,000. Cigarette tax, there's a shocker. Okay, 1,200. 1,200, that's 1,600, so 1,500's fine.
Yeah, leave that alone.
Glad people are still smoking. Railroad tax, 1,600, 15. There's a bright spot, the railroad tax. That looks like maybe make that 1,800. I'm assuming that comes in periodically. This railroad thing?
No, it's
That's
one
it?
deposit. It comes right at the end. It
Wow.
comes around the end of July.
Okay, leave it at.
Let's see, it was
1,600.
1540 the year before. It went up to 1551. I don't think it's
Ah.
going to move.
Yeah.
Now it's maybe
1,600 is probably a little high.
1575, but
Yeah,
1500 is pretty even.
let's leave it at 50 and take out 100, leave it at 1,500.
Agreed, 1,500. All right, sales tax. What is that?
This comes from, let me just pull it up before I misspeak. This comes directly from the county of Fairfax, monthly. It is down. This kind of goes from the B-poll analysis I gave you guys. Most of the businesses were down, but there were just more businesses. But Sales tax is definitely down on deposits.
But
It's about
is-
$2,000 a month.
This is, BPOL is a business license tax, a little teeny weeny thing. Then there's a sales tax. It's a big tax. And it gets collected by, I thought the state, I must be collected by the state and distributed to the counties.
Yeah, and there's a trend. You can see here, start of the year, there's a lot more 36, 37, and there's a trend down per month. And if we pulled up a previous year, similar trend. So not sure why. It might be something to investigate. Previous year we ended at 43 grand, and we were, no month was ever in the 2000s except for one. We were normally closer to 4 grand a month. So this is a significant decrease coming from the county.
You
For
know, it
whatever
might be
reason.
might be worth asking about.
Yeah, we do get a report. I'll take a look into it, but it's the County of Fairfax again. We don't control much what's going on there.
Well, no, but this ought to be formulaic. It ought to be, they've got the right to collect sales tax, they do. And then they apparently distribute it out, because sales tax is collected from businesses here. And you could either have the sales tax here somehow, some part of it come to us, or it could go to Richmond and then back here for distribution, which is probably what happens. But it should be a formula. 23.8. That number looks like 30,000, maybe 31, but
Yeah, it dropped to the 30.
wow,
Based
this
on-
is,
Yeah.
this is interesting. We're seeing revenue down across the board, and I mean revenue business generally, because I keep hearing there's, you know, no recession, everything's great, the economy's perfect, but these statistics would seem to tell a different story, that people just aren't spending as much, is the way this looks.
Well, people are spending as much, they're just spending it on different things.
What would they
Main-
spend it on that wouldn't be subject to sales tax?
The
Professional services.
services, the construction that's going on, that doesn't get hit by sales tax. And we're about to look at the next one, which is meals tax. The restaurants are doing booming business.
Yeah.
And we don't get anything.
Yep.
I still think is crazy.
Well, that lever is there on the meals tax. The meals tax is all over the place. Who's got the meals tax that I keep seeing? City of Fairfax does. Full 4%. Like everywhere I go, they've got the sales tax. And we don't. And one of the reasons we don't is we haven't needed it. But if we did need it, that lever is there.
Yeah.
What are people's thoughts on the meals tax?
Well, I've said this for years that I think we ought to have the meals tax, but
Well, we
I
have,
understand.
And
I
we do.
understand we're holding
Yeah, we
it-
have a
we're
meals
holding it in
tax.
reserve.
We
Huh?
we do have a meals tax. It's just
No, I
Senator
mean, we ought to collect a meals tax.
we ought to raise
fact
the
that-
meals tax.
yeah,
Raise the
All
meals
right,
tax.
raise it from zero, however you want to
it-
characterize it.
No, but it's an important point. There is a meals tax in our code. It's at a rate of 0. So
Yeah.
what would be required to collect money greater than 0 would be to change the rate.
Mhm.
That's all we need to do. We don't need to do anything else. It's literally just a matter of how far you step on the accelerator, if you will. And right now we're off. It's 0, but we could make it 0.5%, 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%. I think. I don't know if you can go higher than that, but that's where the most places are at 4%, but we can raise this. So the question really is whether to change the meals tax rate, not whether to have a meals tax, but whether to change the meals tax rate. And I know it sounds like semantics, but I think it's somewhat important that the council long ago put a meals tax in place with a rate of 0.00. And the question each year is, what should that rate be? If we want to increase it, we just increase the rate.
That's fine.
Is-
I just think we ought to maybe look at the rest of our budget and see how far off we are, because our revenues are going down, and see what the town actually needs. I mean, I'm not in favor of imposing a tax if we don't need the money.
Yeah,
It's literally, Steve, that's always been my position, which is if we don't need it, we're not going to impose a tax just to collect money. And then you have these people go, well, you got the money, you got to find something to spend it on. You know, we're
Right.
not doing that. However, if we do need the money, we will impose taxes. That's our job. So, you know, I've said that all along. And when we were in dire straits and we did need money, we said to the businesses, your choices are meals tax or run an event. And
yep,
they
that's
ran
the
an
gala,
event.
right?
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
was a great event, It raised like 40 grand a year. And so we had no need for a meals tax. Then the economy improved. We didn't need anything. Then we had the goofy, what was that thing? The COVID pandemic, whatever. And, you know,
Actually, what actually happened, Bill, is that Sean left.
Sean left, yeah.
Yeah,
But,
the chair of the
but we
event.
didn't have
departed.
the gala, but we didn't need the gala because
Right.
the economy was good. Then this pandemic comes and we assume we're going to get crushed, but the federal government starts taking money out of our wallets and shoveling it back to us. So we ended up having money. But now we're looking forward, coming out the other side of that event. And, you know, it looks like our revenue sources are going to be down and we might need to use that lever. Any other council member thoughts?
Presumably, you know, we would be open to the same type of arrangement if the business community wanted to get together and raise those funds outside of a tax. You know, we'd be open to a similar approach if we find it necessary to raise funds.
Yeah, I love that. It brought the community together. It was a wonderful event. It was even better in my mind than the homes tour because everybody was packed in together in one room, all talking to each other, and it was really, really a special event.
Yeah.
But
There was like a silent auction and stuff too, right?
yeah, it was great.
I think it just signals, you know, it signals that something's not going well, you know, not just in our income, but maybe even in how we're managing our money. So I think that we need to be really, really tight on where the budget is and just if we want to enter into those conversations. So I mean, obviously we only got to line 16 so far, but I think also, you know, this is the first full budget, you know, that we've looked at in a while, and I think yeah, just making sure that we're keeping a close eye on this on a regular basis to see any of the you know, the markers of the year, what month things are down. I just feel like, I mean, certainly in this conversation, but also I feel like it's a little early to be entering into that conversation, and it's also late to be entering into the conversation. Given the fact that it would be imposed on July 1st for our businesses.
I think what's different is I have never seen this where all these line items are down. Never. Something's going on, and there's a structural change, presumably in the economy. So that's notable. And then we got to the meals tax line, hence the discussion. So that's why
Yeah.
it's discussed now. But in all the years I've looked at these budgets, I have never seen this occur. And as Steve's talking about, maybe people just are spending money, but not on the things that are taxed. But other than, and hence Steve's point, other than food, which they are spending money on. All right,
I would like to note real quick, a meals tax is normally passed through to the user, not the business. So the business isn't who takes the hit, it's the tourists and the people coming in and out. Just like ours is at 0, they just tack their percent on and the customer pays it and then it gets distributed. They never count the money there. So it would more or less be a tourist tax, and then those that are popping into the shop, local, pay it too. But just want to make that note. But I highlighted it, return after we get to the bottom. I agree with Lynn, because there's going to be quite a few expense things as well that I think we're going to realize we can drop too. Because we dropped a lot last year, but we were cutting so much that I'm glad we stopped. And this year we can do a little bit more fine tuning.
all right. Let's see where
Use
we are.
permits is where we're at.
Obviously too high, same thing, like, yep. There you go. Utility consumption tax. Tell me about this. Is this a monthly thing or?
I'm checking right now. Yeah, so this comes from Novec. It's obviously we pay them quite a bit and they kick us back something monthly. It's
Okay.
down. I mean, it's up about 10% from the previous year.
Okay.
Not
This 1104 is what we've collected to date.
correct.
Are we expecting more between now and the end of the fiscal?
Yeah, about 120 a month, so another 360
Okay,
bucks or so, $400. So it can actually go up a little bit.
yeah,
Um,
120 a month times, that's what is that? 1400 or 1500?
Yeah, so I
just
think it's safe
going-
to say it's going to be 1,500 next year because it's consistently up. The big one coming in similar to the other stuff is around September, October, for whatever reason.
All right,
Okay. All right, community hall. Well, here's a positive, positive
Yeah.
note.
Here's where they're spending the money.
that's one
Yeah.
place anyway, yeah.
I'd say the majority of this comes in from a locked in for the dance classes that come in. They're definitely the highest customer and repetitive.
That's the Boyle School.
Boyle School, yep. So that drives this increase rather than non-consistent. But I think
We've been getting a
Daryl
lot
can
of
say more
one-offs
than
too, yeah.
anybody.
Yeah, we've
Daryl
been
more
getting
than
a lot of,
anybody can say. Yeah.
we've been getting quite a few one-off requests coming in, so lots of inquiries, whether or not, they're hit or miss on whether or not they actually come through and book a rental, but these numbers look pretty tight.
All right, so what do you think the 11.5 is a reasonable number?
Yeah.
Okay. Pink House, I don't know, that's just the
It's just rent,
number.
right? Where does
Yeah.
that lease agreement stand? Did they do a
Yeah.
2-year or?
Yeah, it's finally done, so it's 1,300 and 1,600 be 2,900 a month times 12,
Okay.
which I assume this is.
Was that, did they do
approximately
a 1-year extension or a 2-year extension?
that. 1 year. You know what's weird about this is through 9 months, we have $23,000.
One payment missing.
Okay,
So somebody late?
Yeah, sometimes one comes in at the beginning of April. I did just get the latest packet in the mail. It's probably in there. Those tenants are really consistent. I've only had to knock on a door once, and all 3 came within a day or 2. So
okay. Okay, so is that the number?
it is 29 times 12 is 34,800,
All right,
unless there was a rent increase. But I think you guys had decided you can extend it without a rate increase. If they go again, is when you are going to increase.
Yeah.
Wine Festival, should we just take this line item out?
Yeah, I don't think that's ever coming back, is it?
I don't think so. Take it out. Arts Council, we got 0 in here, is that right?
That's probably right for the coming year, yeah. I wouldn't budget anything. There's a couple of, I've had a couple inquiries on, potential shows at the town hall where we do a revenue share on the door, like partner with different groups to come in and do stuff, but nothing that I would commit at this point to revenue. So if we do see anything come in, it'll be all upside.
All right. That takes us down to, I think, Haunted Trail. What do we do with that? I don't want to be too aggressive. What are
I
people?
put it exactly where we left this year, 50
The
grand.
revenue side.
Yep.
Okay. Thoughts, council members?
It always scares me. I mean, this is why I like the meals tax. You know, one bad storm and you are not going to get the revenue.
Right. So you have to
Well-
put a risk adder in here.
Yeah, I think as far as a number to put in the budget, I wouldn't put 50. I realize that historically that's how it's performed in good years, but yeah, I would bump that down to 35 or 40 just to hedge and just see where the budget comes out. The good news is we primarily moved to pre-sale tickets, and our refund policy is no refunds basically. So there's no rain date, and we keep the ticket sales if we do get rained out, because we lay a lot of costs out to put the event on, whether it's rain or shine. We incur those costs whether it happens. So
Daryl,
Yeah.
was the primary purchase, was the primary amount here from pre-purchase tickets?
I would say the bulk of our sales were pre-sale. Wouldn't you agree, Amanda?
I'm not sure if I have those numbers broken out that way right now. I can get you that information.
Yeah.
Well, you had pre-sales and you had sponsors.
Yeah, sponsor revenue comes in ahead, and ticket sales come in ahead, and those.
What were tickets on site, Phyllis? Do you remember approximately? 5,000?
Like 50. Oh. Huh. Give me a. Yeah, something like that.
5 grand.
And actually,
So about 10% of that total revenue is coming in on-site ticket sales.
All right. So you want 35 or 40?
Yeah, I think 37.5 is what we have in there now. Let's leave it there for now. That's my take on it. I mean, we've
Oh, okay.
the committee hasn't met for this year's event yet, so we don't,
37.5. All right.
and that's total revenue, right? That's
That's
not
correct.
yeah.
That's not a net or anything.
Yeah.
All right. Homes tour, 3,000. That must have been the revenue.
Right.
Do we expect that to increase or stay flat?
There wasn't a homes tour the year before, was there?
Not the
It
year
was
before.
not.
There was this year, obviously.
We didn't budget anything for it. Yeah, I think there's certainly energy around having it again. So certainly budgeting for some revenue. I think, just matching where we were last year. It was a good showing. We might go up slightly this year, but I don't.
So I put it up a little bit because of the previous year held, it was at 6,300 prior to COVID hitting. The same thing with Haunted Tour was 61 grand prior to COVID. That's why I put these increases. I agree with the conservative approach, but there's also, I'll be pushing back a little bit on the realistic. I think if the home store is going to move forward again, it's going to just get that little bit of repetition from 2 years, and you'll get incumbents and you also get some new people, but I'm fine with putting it down to 3 grand and let it ride.
3. I'm just not sure whether people's attitudes have changed towards things, and there's just a different group and a different number of people. I also know that the home store in the past had become this carnival-like deal that brought out a lot of people, but took an enormous amount of work. And what we have now is lower key than what we'd had in the past, which I think is better as people just hanging out and having a good time instead of being super wired. I mean, it was unbelievable. So structurally, the way it is now, I don't know that I would imagine it getting much bigger. It's like a local community event. Okay. Interest income, tell me about that. What does that even mean? Because we've got CDs, we got money market. It should be bigger than it used to be in the past because the rates are going up, but
Yep. Good news is we're back to a respectable amount. Our conversation last year was why is it so low? Now we're going to be hitting budget. We're at 83% against 75% of the year. I do think it will go up since we got a good rate on the CD and the 900K sitting there for 4. We either keep it the same or up a little bit. We'll likely end this year around 7 grand. But it's up to you all.
I say let it ride at 65, but
Okay.
that's just the conservative in me.
very conservative guy.
We knew
You-
it would
you-
show up
I was gonna
sometime.
say, yeah. It's
Okay,
gotta be in there
I just-
somewhere.
Okay, so we have $900,000 in CDs at 4%. Isn't that $36,000? So why are we
Over
talking about-
13 years,
Yeah.
over 13 months. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be much higher.
Oh, okay.
So I'm missing something. And even the money market's at 3. So we've got a
3.5,
solid
yeah.
million. We got $1 million at 3.5. We've got $30,000 to $35,000 coming. And see, this rate was literally 0.
Yeah,
for
that's true.
years. 0, and then you could get like 0.8
Point-
or
yeah.
something. Less than 1%. So we had these goofy numbers, but this number is, I mean, here's a positive. Thank
Yeah.
goodness. Inflation.
That's what this
Interest
line
rate.
is, right? We're not, there's not like another line that's for the, for the
CD.
CDs, right? Yeah.
Is this it?
So a question
This
about
is
the
it.
CDs. Does the money roll back into the CD or do you get it deposited straight to the account?
It rolls into the CD, so it's compounding, but we do record the interest income monthly on CDs. They are an active account. It's just not liquid, but as everybody knows here, we can liquidate it as we want.
Or if we need to, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So every month interest is earned and added to the total.
Yep. With
So
the
if
money
we-
market, as Bill said, you know, you can expect 30 grand from 12 months on the one CD. And then, I mean, this is quite the other money market. I have no idea why Will gave us such a high rate on money that is liquid, but that's going to be another 25 grand if we keep that balance up too.
So that's like $50,000 in income.
I mean, come
Between
on.
the two of them?
How
It
much
just
do we
seems
have total?
ridiculous though. It seems too high.
How much? No, how much do we have total? 1.3 or something in play?
Yeah. Hold on one moment.
That's in CDs and money market. What is it? 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 1. It's one of those.
I'm just pulling up the financials I sent.
I mean, we have a CD that's earning 4%. It doesn't float. They won't change it. They won't go, my gosh, looking back, I think that's too high.
Right.
You know, it is what it is. So what's of this 145, what is not? Okay, well, that's 1, 1, right?
Yeah. So we got 200K in the money market savings, and that's at 3.5%. And then we have 900K in the 4%.
These numbers, I don't want to sound bad, but these numbers, do they add up? We got, that's 1, 1, and then you've got 320 at Marshall. That's 1, 4, 5.
Marshall hasn't been reinvested yet. They haven't made any offer except if we brought new money in. And so it's still sitting.
But what's it sitting at? It's got to have an interest rate on it, right?
And what's the term? They don't last forever. We don't have to.
No, we're
stick
not in
them.
we're not locked in a CD right now at John Marshall. It's
What the? Oh
So that money's just sitting in a holding account?
God. Okay.
it's getting a little interest. It's kind of like a money
Okay.
market savings is where it rolled into, and then
Okay.
their advice was to sit.
Okay, this is crazy. Okay, so they have 2 choices. They give us a CD of 3 to 4%, or we move it to United.
Yeah.
Sure.
Those are their choices.
Okay.
This is not
Make that
tied up.
happen,
It's not
yeah.
in. This is absurd. I mean, when the numbers were 0.8 and 0.5, it didn't matter. But now that the numbers are 3 to 4 and they're giving us 0, that ain't cool.
Okay. I'm gonna
Yeah.
send them an email while we talk here, just to set up the call.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. And they either
Bill-
give us competitive. Go ahead, Steve.
No, I'm just saying, I think this answers your question about the numbers that we were looking at before of why they're so far down in terms of sales tax and all that other. Because everybody is paying all of a sudden an awful lot of money on interest
Oh,
that they have accrued. So the money is going out. It's just not going into purchasing, for sales tax or things like that. The mortgage rates are going up. Everything is going up. We get benefit of that because we've got some money in the bank, but most people have debt with the bank.
yeah. This is good. This is good. Anyone who's got a lot of money in the bank ought to be looking at these sorts of CDs, I would say. Okay, so we have 1.1 million at 3.5 to 4%. So we can do that at 35, 3.5. That's $38,500 just on. I mean, if you want to do it technically, we do 108,050 times 0.035. That's on the low side, gives you $38,000. Or 37,817.5.
Yeah, and we're getting interest on this as well.
Well, and this John Marshall thing, I want to get that changed, and that'll be next year. So that's another. That's just an up. That's like another $12,000 there. This is great.
So we could budget 50K. It looks like just about an interest.
Well, I think if
40?
we know we got 38 that's coming in for sure. If 40, if you want to do it,
You don't know what the timing of the other one is.
Yeah.
right.
It's-
but just
it's-
on the 180 and the 900, you've got, it looks like $38,000.
Yeah. If we're getting interest, coming in on a monthly basis, wherever that John Marshall money comes to, a bulk of it's going to come in this, coming fiscal, no matter when we open that account. So
Well,
I think 40, 45 is reasonable.
What number do we want to use here? I don't disagree. It assumes we don't spend, like if we spend half of this money on undergrounding utilities or something, then we won't. We won't do.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, then we won't be earning this. This is the goose that laid the golden egg. This is the thing.
That's what we get for squirreling away our nuts for so many years, right?
That people complain about. They complain that we have money.
That we're sitting on money, and this is
it. This is saving our behind here.
Yeah,
with this red ink we've got on the top end.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so gents and ladies, what number do you want to put here?
I think 45 is the right number. That's my take. I don't know.
Sounds aggressive.
That's not aggressive. We just looked at the numbers, Bill.
Well, probably if we have a second meeting, if it's next week or next Monday, I'm going to have what we're going to be able to do at John Marshall.
That's exactly right. That's the missing piece, right? Like it's 40 unless we get Marshall squared away. If we get Marshall squared away, you're right. There's another.
We go back to United Bank and say we've got another $320,000 to throw at you. Who knows what they'll give us?
I think they'll be okay, but they'll probably have to restructure it all into one CD at 1.2.
No, he says we can reopen another CD. He don't mind. It was.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
It was the difference of an hour when I called him.
Yeah. Well, he had an end of quarter coming up or something, I bet. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the weird thing. I talked to John Marshall too. I'm looking at the emails. They offered something very similar, but then I said, "Hey, this sounds great. Let's do this immediately." And I copied our rec Diane. And then they came back and said, no, you have to be a new customer. I was like, why'd you reach out to me?
Right.
But I just kicked it back up. So I'll have a talk with him probably today or tomorrow.
Tell me what happens if United Bank pulls what was that thing called? Silicon Valley Bank? Are we, how does insurance work?
Yeah. Are we covered by FDIC with these accounts?
It's a good question. I
remember
can look
the-
into the policy.
Ask, can you ask William? He'll know.
Okay.
And he'll tell us. I recall it being something like governmental bodies are treated differently because it's the people's money. And well, anyway, just
It's all the people's money at the end of the day.
but I really like United Bank. Well, I really like Cardinal Bank, which is now called United Bank or is part of United Bank. And I really like William. So I'd be happy to throw all our business his way if John Marshall doesn't want to play ball. Okay?
Yeah, I do believe John Marshall, because of the ties to the town, will play ball. It would be up to the town whether to keep both banks. Because I agree, I used to be with Cardinal. I love United, and Will is one of the best bankers I've worked with.
Exactly. I'm
The guy
happy
drove
keep
to
Mark-
the guy drove to 6 different branches to get us cash for the haunted trail because no bank carries cash anymore. He did it for us without telling me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a good guy.
Yeah, so Marshall, I think Ridenour is on their board or something, like one of our BZA members is on their board. And a couple other people are on their board as
I know they
well.
put they helped to finance the stuff out at Cloverleaf. They're a big partner in that project.
Yeah, so it is a local place. I'm happy to keep ties, but not, if they're not going to treat us right.
Yeah.
All right, so we went from 6,500 to 45,000. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
40 until next week.
You
It's
want
at 45 until next week, Steve.
Well, the good
revise it-
news is
We'll revise
these-
it down based on what we hear.
Okay, all right.
the changes we've made with that puts us into almost a flat when losing the COVID money, which
Yeah.
is really good because, I know I'm jumping the gun. We got a little ways to go, but bottom line now, it's within striking distance. And this would be a conservative. Most likely we're not spending all this money. So
Yeah.
I think that is
Alright.
the difference of no meals tax at this point. So
Okay.
the last item here was the litter control grant. I put it to the exact amount we received the previous year.
We have property rental park square gazebo. I guess $150 is fine.
It was super low. I
And
looped
we-
with
We
what's
just
her
put
name?
that new fee structure in place for that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we haven't
Mhm.
I don't even know how many we've seen come through
Celebrate
since.
Clifton Gala, we leave that in.
Yeah.
Fire program, the bane of everyone's existence, that's all.
That's just a pass through, right? That's
Litter control grant. Tell me about that again. Now, did they give us $3,000?
So this year they added this what's it called, extruded polystyrene program on top of the normal litter grant. And I think they're about equal approximately. But to be honest with you, unless somebody does something with that, and I don't know what to do with $1,400 to tamp down the use of polystyrene unless somebody's got a passion for that and wants to approach the businesses to find out what they use for their to-go containers.
Sure, I think Ed Ellers could help us with that.
And I don't know if we're supposed to buy things that aren't EPS and hand them out to the businesses. I mean, this is for a larger municipality that would have a campaign, with education and outreach and brochures, and we're talking about a handful of establishments. So I'm not sure how we spend $1,300 or $1,400, and then evidence that back at the end of the year in our reports, so that they'll accept the expenditure of the money as appropriate. So bottom line is we're probably potentially at risk of giving that back just because we didn't use it. So
Talking
on a go forward, unless we want to do that every year, the litter grant should probably be about $1,300 or $1,400. And then if we do this EPS thing, that's great. We're going to have to spend it anyway or give it back.
So we've collected $3,000 so far, and that includes this EPS thing you're talking about, Reagan?
Yeah.
Is it a reimbursement or do they?
No, it's an advance. We do the application, they advance it, and then we have to do two reports, actually. One of them is more of an operations report, and then one of them is a financial report.
Okay, we'd have to
So-
say we spent the money on extended polystyrene. What is that?
It's a material used for
it's
to-go
basically
containers.
a styrofoam container.
Yeah,
Like
and
the-
with all the events that we host in town, if we committed to purchasing compostable materials and just use that as an opportunity to just set an example that this is the standard now, we could cover those fees for different events, maybe partner with CBA for the events that they have. I don't know how it certainly would need to be managed, but it's a shame. It's a shame to lose that and have the opportunity to have some sort of culture change.
I think getting Ed Ehlers engaged if we can, even if it's just, he could probably help us put some materials together to put in front of the establishments that are located in town, and put
I have
something
the
together.
I have the slideshow from the DEQ program
Sure.
manager. I don't know. I don't think Ed's dialed into this one.
Send those out, okay? Because here's my take. Here's my take based on what I heard. There's some material that's considered evil, and is this the white foamy styrofoam?
Yes.
Okay. Is evil. This material is evil. So they're shoveling money out to people to get rid of the evil material. So if we have this evil material used in town, and we can use this money to decrease its use, it's not for us. The money gets spent and it goes towards reducing this material. Great. But if for some reason this material is not heavily used in town, we're not the right people to decrease the use, which is the intended purpose. And we ought to send the money back and say, give it to somebody who can use this money to get rid of this thing you've targeted. So that's the question. Is this foamy styrofoam stuff, is this something people actually use at the businesses in town? I don't know that I've seen it, but maybe they do.
Right.
There's another question, and of course I haven't seen what this program is about either, but it could be the other side. That is, the biggest problem with styrofoam is getting rid of it. You can't, it won't recycle properly.
And it won't biodegrade
and they won't allow you to recycle it at the recycling centers in Fairfax County at this point. I've done a lot of research on that, trying to find out how to get rid of the damn stuff. So if there is a program on the other side of this grant on collecting styrofoam so that it can indeed be recycled somewhere, then I guarantee you virtually every home in Clifton has or gets styrofoam in the packaging that they get, for a new television or anything else, and there's nowhere to put it. There's nowhere to get rid of it. And if this program deals with that side of it as well, then Clifton could certainly use it.
We'd have like that drug collection thing. We'd have a styrofoam collection day. And somebody would take it all to.
I think that's definitely something Ed could help with because of the resource recovery project that he runs, about, figuring out the best possible stream for that stuff.
Okay.
And certainly if any of our businesses are using those type of materials, we certainly could use this as an opportunity to have them change their culture. So that it's not coming
learn what
to
the impact to them would be, right? If they're, that everybody's coming out of this recovery, and if it's a difference of, X number of $1,000s a year versus, getting this styrofoam stuff versus something that's more environmentally friendly, let's understand that impact. How much is it really going to cost them to be more environmentally conscious?
And would we pay them to
Well, who knows? I don't know that.
Styrofoam?
Potentially, I guess we could use some of these funds to put a grant program together. I don't know.
Yeah.
If it's accomplishing the end goal is.
We're talking about $1,500.
Yeah, at the end of the day.
Who's going to do the legwork to do the research here and all that? and I think that was part of Reagan's point,
Yeah.
is we have to show we're using this to get rid of the terrible foam. And if we don't, we give the money back, which to me, I say that's fair. If
Yep.
it's targeted and we didn't use it, we give it back, no problem. In order to use it, and I ain't saying we used it if it wasn't legitimately used, just to keep it. That's not okay.
Right.
So someone would have to step forward and be the styrofoam king here in Clifton. And currently we don't have that person. So as we sit here today, and do we get, is this for next year? This money we got, or is this for this year?
It's for the current year.
Is it a calendar year?
It's a grant year, which follows the fiscal year.
The town's
So-
fiscal year or the
So
county's
we
fiscal
got,
year?
we gotta spend this
States.
money. We gotta spend this money by July, whatever, or send it back.
Yeah, I think so, Bill.
All right, sounds like it's going back. Okay, unless, I mean, the spring could be a perfect time for a styrofoam event. Be kind of fun.
Campaign of some kind.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, all good discussion. I think that line item should come down until we have a plan here.
I've reduced it down to the the 1300.
Okay, good job. And look, I hope Ed or someone else steps forward with this.
Well, Ed
Here it
has
is.
already asked for the third category of grant, which is the competitive grant, if you recall. So he has filled out the application for us to upload between now and the 15th of July. And he's asking for like $10,000 to do recycling. And if there's a place for this stuff, he claims he can recycle just about everything. So that may be already on this list. I think he previously provided a list of the 29 or so items that he has a way to dispose of that item or find it a new home. It may be on there. I don't recall.
By the way,
But
shouldn't this be on the other side? Is it a matching expense somewhere?
It should be.
All right.
Just real quick, it does look like the deposit comes in around end of December, 1st of January, so it might be on a calendar year, Reagan. So there might be more time but you have to let us know.
Yeah, whatever the grant year is for the state.
Okay.
I don't recall. They don't define it. They just keep calling it grant year. So I'll have to check and see it. Maybe if it is calendar, that would be good news.
Oh, rescue plan, no money. Money came in, that's it. Okay. So this is revenue for fiscal year 2024. There's nothing in the winds of the feds sending us any money. So this is zero. Right?
Correct.
All right. Other income donations, zero. Okay. All right. Are we ready to move on? And that gives us a total revenue of what? $74,000. No.
Total revenue is 249.79,
240.
which is a $7,400 difference from the budgeted revenue of the previous year.
Oh, but this has fire department and other nonsense, but only the fire department. So of the two, that's a lot, 240, there is 30 to 40 in sales tax. There's B-pole 40, sales tax 40, just call it. Haunted trail 40, that's 120. Interest, call it 40, 160. Where's the other 80,000?
There's miscellaneous like the motor, cigarettes.
Couple
You got the
little
sales
things
tax,
here and there.
communications. Yeah, everything else kind of adds up to that other 50,
We got
60.
40, 40, 40, 40, and then cats and dogs that add up to about 60. and
Oh,
then-
Pink House, 35 Pink House and Community Hall 11.
Oh, okay. So 40, 40, 40, 40, that's 200. then cats and dogs and fire grant. Okay.
Yep.
So pink house is big and interest is big. And we have the one item, haunted trail, and to a smaller extent, the home store, that are volunteer events. Less than we used to. There were times when that was most of the budget. Okay. All right. Next is salaries. COVID, that was all that COVID
Yep.
stuff.
So we cleaned it up last year to take to move it town clerk salary and zoning, assistant project manager, streetscape, so all this happens just on a regular payroll basis. And then we added, instead of having the COVID, we put it into records review. But overall, it's these four combined, so the 40K is split up evenly here.
Town clerk, zoning clerk, and streetscape. Okay. Adding up to 40. And then 27 for the treasurer. Okay, it's an odd number, literally. Isn't that 339? That's 3 cubed. Okay. All right. Insurance, tell me about that. I mean, is there any more discussion on this now? We're laying it out there. Insurance, small increase. Okay.
Insurance usually ticks up a little bit every year.
No worries. ARB, 300, fine, that's expensive.
Nothing spent.
BZA. Do you remember when we had that BZA thing and they spent like 15 grand or something? It was unbelievable.
Like 25.
Yeah,
It was a legal expense, yeah.
very
To-
fun.
To move a $5,000 shed. Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, 2019 was the last expenditures.
It's been quiet.
Mhm.
Powerful, important organization. Consulting and related expenses. I don't know what that is. Town
Hold on
plan
one moment.
revisions. Is that maybe for the town engineer or something, but 5,000 fine. Town plan revisions, that's still going on, right? That's the what is
The
that
planning
thing called?
commission,
What's the actual name of it?
the comprehensive plan.
Comprehensive plan. Can we call that town comprehensive plan? Can you insert comprehensive? And I say that because it's actually a legal thing. It's a legal requirement. Advertising for public hearings for use permits, $24. That's an indicator. That's good. That means it's been quiet on the restaurant front. Legal services, what on earth?
We haven't paid a legal bill in the last year?
This is an odd one. So there's two legal lines.
Legal
Okay.
fees.
Maureen has been very quiet. Let's see. Legal services. So we have legal services down here for 5K. This is contractual expenses, and then there's the legal catch-all for 24K up there. Ultimately,
Yeah.
very high. Coming off a COVID year, I think you guys had a lot of
Yeah.
legal, but Maureen's been very quiet for the last few months.
That
5 months.
the legal services 5,000. That's for the planning commission. That's not.
Okay.
That's not unreasonable. Although Maureen you can look at the bills and figure that out, but we don't usually do it that way, but I don't mind having it there in case it's needed. Frankly, there's a lawsuit going on between somebody that bought that 7184 house from the developer that had all the problems. And then they never lived there. They were the people who
It was a young couple that bought the place.
Yeah, and they
Right.
bought it sight unseen or something.
And then they wound up selling it to another new developer that owns it now, right?
Yes. So they're suing.
Good for them.
Well, and they're asking us, our people, to be witnesses,
Sure.
which requires Maureen to come down and make sure that nothing terrible happens. So, in fact, there will be planning commission legal fees coming in like next month. That'll probably be sizable.
Do we join in their suit to recoup those legal expenses as part of or do we have to sue independently to recover our legal fees?
I think it'd be independent, and I
Oh.
don't think we want any. It's terrible, but we want to do our part and get the heck out. We don't want anything to do with it. It's not our fight. It's not our issue. Whatever they're doing, and that's part of it. That the people bringing the suit, I think, wanted to co-opt the town into supporting them, and like that's not our business.
Right.
We're just here to say, here are the facts.
Yeah, we're fact witnesses. That's true. We observed what
Yes.
took place, but I'm sure we have discoverable documentation on it, but
Which they have gotten. So
Yeah.
Whether they're right or wrong, or they were misled, we could guess. I don't want to.
Yep.
Not
that's not our thing. Yeah.
But
Okay.
the point is, we'll send Maureen in to make sure our people are protected. So we will see, could be, I don't know, $5,000 rolling in on this pretty soon, unfortunately. Reminds me of.
You said that's in the next few months, right?
Yeah.
Is that gonna end up being under this budget or the next year?
It should be, so 2 points. It should be this fiscal year. But it
Right. The
does
services would be
indicate-
delivered in the current fiscal, right?
Yes, but it indicates this sort of thing actually can happen from the planning commission. So leave the 5,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
General admin, education, fine. Accounting, there you go. Okay, no worries. We'll keep the money in there.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, there will be an audit.
They didn't get back to me yet.
we-
I'm at a daily email at this point.
We're required to do it every 2 years, right?
No, we're not required to do it ever.
At all, ever. Oh, good. All right. Okay. Not, I mean, you know what I mean? I don't want to be delinquent in
No. We literally never have to do it. It's one
Okay.
of the many things that small towns do. I mean, seriously, it's a town of 243 people. What could happen?
Remind me, since it wasn't done last year and we're talking with them about doing 2 years, are they planning to bill us for 2 years at flat fee?
I'm trying to get 3
They're-
years into one, and it's going to be a negotiation, especially since they
but
don't
they're not
answer my
even, I was
emails.
going to say, they're not even responding at this point. We don't know if they're going to do any years.
Yeah, we don't know, but what I've said, Steve, is if you want to go back and do the last 3 years, you could do so, but I understand you're busy. Why don't you just do all 3 at once and bill us half, or whatever? Because like you're not going to bill us, you're not going to do all 3 at once and bill us triple. That's crazy. It's not that hard.
Yep. It's already an inflated number. I feel like for the amount of.
Yeah, no, but somebody has to do it. Well, they don't have to do it, but
we just covered this.
I think the reason they're not returning the calls is they're busy with other stuff, and this isn't a priority, and that's fine. Okay, they don't have to make it a priority, but they also shouldn't be hitting us with high fees if they're not going to give us prompt service. I'm okay
Right.
with not prompt service as long as the fees are,
Reflect that. Yeah.
reflective of So
They're not
next-
gonna respond to us until after the tax season is over, so.
That's fair. That's
Yeah, and that's okay. I didn't, Nick, I
Yeah.
just want to be on record. I just want to be on record that we asked. You don't need to pester them. You don't need to spend time with it. Steve's right. They're not getting back to us. That's okay. We don't need it. Everything's fine. But when things slow down and they're quiet, I'd like to hear what the plan is. Okay, so you don't have to call them every day on speed dial.
Sounds good.
Okay. This isn't like a burning desire on my part that I think we've got a problem here, but rather, let's just figure out what we in fact want to do.
now
Legal
we're down to
fees.
line 99 legal fees, the large one.
Legal fees. We've carried 24 in here in case things go south. And when we had that crazy BZA thing, we ran up some pretty hefty fees there. So, but I don't know that they were ever on the 24,000. This is in
Well, they were
case
15.
things go.
It was
Yeah.
15.8.
So I don't mind. Steve, what are your thoughts like having this big number in there? I don't mind that because I don't want to have to go back and re-budget or find money somewhere. The reality is we shouldn't spend much of this, but if we need to, we've got it.
Yeah, I don't know whether, it depends on what you're using a budget for. I mean, we're always going to be in a position where if the town gets into a fight, you're going to have high legal fees.
Yeah.
And we don't know what's going to happen. Most particularly at this point, I suspect with Streetscape, and whether there would be legal fees there or not. I don't know that this is reflective of anything other than us saying we should have reserve money, which we do in the bank, in case there is a legal fight. Whether you want that in the budget or not is up to you.
All right. What about 18,000?
Yeah. I mean, well, it's true. It's pick a number.
Yeah.
It
Well,
gets
but-
ridiculously expensive if we've got a big fight, and that's the BZA thing that we got into is a great example of that. But I don't know how many times we're going to have to do that.
Very rarely, but when this thing number was like $5,000, we would blow through that quickly,
Oh, sure.
and it would be a problem, and people would be surprised. I want people not to be surprised. Number one. Number two, I want people who might be miscreants to know that we are ready. We
Yeah.
are ready to go if and when needed, and we've got the funds to do it. So 18,000 is fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, town handyman. What's up with that, Reagan? Been a light year in the handyman area?
There's been some
I
pink
guess-
house stuff, but it's a different account. Repairs down on 123. But it has been a light year overall, Reagan, unless I've completely missed some invoices.
Yeah, when was our broken window down at the
That's-
pink house? That
Yeah, there's
was,
$200 down there in maintenance
it was
repairs.
$250. That's all that was.
Yeah.
Primarily because I apprenticed that day.
Hazard pay, right?
But it has been light, but
I'd leave it.
we're gonna, when something pops up, it's usually not small.
All right, leave it. Air Square rent. I don't understand this line item. Oh, shit. I do understand this line item.
We don't
got
pay
all of
rent
that.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't pay rent anymore. Bonus.
Delete
Another
the
awesome
line.
deal. Yeah, yeah, you actually can and should delete this line. Our acquisition made this go away. People should be partying in the streets. I
What
forget
was
this
it?
was.
What was it?
Like 1,800.
It was like $1,400 or something. It was a tax. It was the property taxes equivalent.
So every year we put away $1,400. This thing will pay for itself.
It will, in 75 years.
Air Square maintenance, that's fine. It almost seems light, but
Yeah, it's probably lighter for, maintenance. We do
Especially
need-
if we're doing
we
the
do need to
tree.
talk about,
maintenance.
we
it's
do need
not
to talk
bad.
about what we want to do down there and in the park.
Well,
We had a lot of things on the list last year that we have not expended. There's a tab
Okay.
on Nick's sheet for parks. So there were several items
the
identified.
big thing is most of this stuff goes into capital improvement. So if the tree did go in, we could capitalize, and that's further down the budget. And so
Right.
a few things that were done this year, there was flag post stuff that I capitalized on them. This maintenance stuff is someone destroyed the grass and you guys had to get sod or something for something like that is where I would use the 1,500.
What about tree?
Capital, was that what you were just saying, Nick?
Yep, capital, that would be down here when we get down to it.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
All right, fine. Next.
So, yes.
Sorry, let me get back up.
There is a desire from some folks on parks and beautification to put a planter back around the flagpole. So.
Yeah, we would drop that here because it's
That's kind of
life of a
permanent.
planter unless someone's really taking care of it. I don't know about your guys' yards. It's about 1 year on mine.
Well, this would be probably landscaping blocks this time instead of the timbers that we tore out last year and took to the dump.
Yep.
But would they put plants in that have to be watered?
Yeah, that's the proposal.
That's a-
Or things that don't need to be watered if they're natives,
Yeah,
like
things
it
that
used to have.
don't need to be. Yeah, well, when we had weeds in there, those were, did not need to be watered. They just grew by themselves. Very healthy. I'm very against when people used to go, I have to cart water over there. That is not a good plan.
Yeah,
We do not want to encourage that. I know it looks nice, but yeah. Okay, caboose expenses equipment. I don't know what that is, but it's $500.
no idea. Just-
Maintenance. I don't know. Thoughts on this? This is not CapEx caboose restoration. This is maintenance of stuff that breaks. So
I don't know that we've got the people that actively
Yeah,
are looking to collect, appropriate items that used to be part of the train inside, and getting it, painted and presentable is probably the key item. I don't know that.
Well, some
Yeah.
of this, Reagan, isn't some of this to fix the barrier that stops people from climbing on the.
Yeah,
on the
that's
roof?
the kind of stuff that it should be for.
Yeah.
Potentially fixing the broken windows. It could be maintenance there.
is this
So-
adequate? I would put the windows as
Capital.
that's probably capital, because I understand those are very expensive.
I would expect so.
And probably hard to break, honestly. I don't know how somebody broke them. But you figure this amount is sufficient for maintenance?
Yeah, I'd say it's more than enough for the
Okay.
things that we've experienced over the past several years.
Well,
Yeah,
railroad,
last time the account was used was 2016. There are some random stuff, locks, really small repairs, light bulbs, some paint.
yeah.
all right, it's good, it's
Yep.
good. Tell
I'll
me
leave it
about
where it is.
railroad siding rent, huh? When is it due?
Into that.
And the actual is at 100?
No, not at all. And it goes up 4% a year.
There it is.
That can't be right.
Alt. Okay.
Unless we pay it once a year.
I think we do pay it once a year.
It is paid once a year. Norfolk Southern Railroad. So they reached out for $100 in September, which we pay every September, but they didn't reach out in November. I'm gonna shoot them an email right now. They're normally very aggressive when they reach out too, but
What was the $100 for?
What's the $100 for?
let's see, 100. I'll pull the receipt. It's 100 every September, and then they charge us $1,850 or $1,900 per the rent for the whole year. Let me pull those receipts, and I can let you guys know in just a few minutes.
Okay, 2,100 sounds like the right number, though.
All right.
based on what You
Yep.
just said.
Hey,
Okay.
quick question.
Yes,
So we pay rent to have the parking lot?
that is correct. We pay rent for that land, which we have chosen to pave and put a caboose on.
A caboose and the parking lot.
Correct.
And once upon a time, if you recall, there was a little tiny parking lot.
It was just gravel, right? It was like,
There was nothing over there, and then we moved to make it gravel, and then we paved it. So we've
Mhm.
more than doubled the size of the parking lot, but we always rented all that space. And unfortunately, I made a deal to have the interest go up, or the rate go up 4% a year instead of CPI. So it's now reasonable, but it wasn't for many years. But there we are. So we rent all that space. Be nice if we could rent other parts as well, like where Trummers and Presbyterian Church is.
yeah. Is that on the table, or?
I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like
Well,
Norfolk
more
Southern's
difficult.
probably open to other streams of revenue these days.
It'd be more difficult because they use that area as a staging
Staging.
area for their construction.
Yeah.
For repairs and stuff. Okay.
And the other
I
side,
think
I think the other side of the tracks is not rented, it's just used, where the planter boxes are.
That's right.
But we don't park there, but it'd be nice to get another caboose. Anyway, so there we go.
Maybe we could
So
figure
the
out how
amount-
to paint that one.
The amount we were charged was 1921 for the previous year. So I just added $100. Because we'll expect about $2,000, 2,100 for next year, and
Good.
if they don't increase at all.
2,100. 21. Well, it in the lease, it increases 4% a year. It's not you don't have to guess.
Okay.
All right. What is this meeting hall cleaning? Tell me about cleaning.
that's Patricia and her team that
Yeah,
do the
so
cleaning. That's pretty.
the 2,400 looks light, or is it?
No, I think that's what she charges us. $200
Well,
a month.
Okay, but we're at 1950, so we're 150 over.
Well, there
Okay.
was I think there was an additional, like a special event that she did an additional cleaning for this year that won't happen every year. And
I think there was an initial deep clean too.
yeah, that too, yeah, when we first brought her on board. I don't know if that was this fiscal or last, but
It's 200 a month, and there are some specials. I'd make that $2,700 because
we can budget that, yeah.
because I hope there will be 2 special events.
Ah, got something planned?
No,
Should
but,
reach out
you
to the
know,
reservationist, if so, check the dates.
And what happened with the that art guild thingy? Who paid for the cleanup there?
They cleaned up themselves. There was no additional fee for cleanup.
Okay, cool.
They
Alright.
only charge an additional fee for cleanup if people don't clean up after themselves.
Yeah, people have the option to pay in advance for cleaning if they don't want to clean up for themselves. And there's a security deposit if they don't clean up, so.
So you guys agree with the 2,700 for the 2?
Yeah.
All right, because
I think that's fair, yeah. And it's also, it would be reasonable, although we haven't heard from Patricia, but wouldn't be unreasonable for her to reach out and say her fees are increasing.
or decreasing.
I doubt that very
Yeah.
seriously.
You never know, because she likes us a lot. All right, so 2,700 it is. Electric, we're at 3. That seems like it's lower, or are we getting into the AC season?
I think we're just getting into cranking the AC season, and we are seeing an increase in frequency of rentals. So
We're
I don't
good.
think we'll cover the gap between now and the end of the year. I don't think we'll get to 65, but I think we keep it at 65.
All right, supplies, just keep money
That's
there.
about right. Yeah.
General maintenance.
I generally restock supplies and I don't expense them.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
General maintenance, including floors.
Does
keep
that,
it-
I was gonna ask about this. Does that cover, Nick, is that where the HVAC maintenance invoices come out of?
Yes.
All right. I don't know why it says including floors on there, but We haven't had any maintenance of the floors that we've had to pay for. Generally, the Irish school put the floors in there and they cover any.
Well,
maintenance.
that line item's been in there forever, and you remember we had that.
Yeah,
other
yeah.
school when they had to bring the little guy.
Yeah. Okay.
I hate to go back to Patricia. She cleans every other week. So essentially it's twice a month. And it's $150 per cleaning.
Oh. And how are we only at 1950?
Because she's not that great about getting invoices to us.
We normally true her up about once every 6 weeks, and we get her paid as
Yeah.
soon as we get it. But
She's going to
Okay.
be sending some
Ooh.
soon
So that's
for like
300
3 months.
So that's 300 a month. That's what is it? 3,600 a year.
No, I want to use a different calculus. Okay.
Okay.
If it's every other week, there are actually
That's 26 times 150.
I did
All right.
52 divided by 2 and then times 150.
I did 26 times 150
Which is the same math for all three of us.
and got $3,900.
Okay. So why don't we, with the additional special cleanings, why don't we put it at 4,200? There you go.
Okay, that's fine. But boy, that's a big difference, eh? That's like $1,800.
Yeah, I don't know where that 2,400 came from in last year's budget. Frankly, I don't know how we got there, but here we are.
It might have been before her, and we didn't know what was going on.
Fair.
And remember, Amanda's.
That's right.
child
Yeah.
was doing it.
Yeah.
And
Lilith
I
was doing the cleaning for a while.
would like them to continue. And I think they went to college, which was unfortunate, I thought, because they could have continued to clean the town hall, but what are you gonna do?
What a career they would have had.
Yeah, exactly. Management fee, 25% of, okay, whatever it is.
That's also me, and I haven't been charging it since COVID started, so I don't know if I'll start doing it again, but 1250 is reasonable.
Well, it ought to be whatever the
25% of the 11.5, right?
Yeah. Right.
So, yeah. I don't know if somebody.
Nick, that should be a formula.
28. Yeah, I can make it a formula real quick.
That's even better. So yeah, 11.5 times 25, which is
28.75.
27.5, 27.
28.75.
Yeah.
You just showing off doing it in your head, Bill? Is that what that is?
Man, I'm all about that. I used to do math in my head all the time, just for fun. All right. Interior improvements. Is there anything going on with that? We don't need to, but I remember we used to talk about adding this, that, and the next thing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like as we eventually move back to meeting there on a regular basis in person, I think we should budget some funds to equip it with microphones and a camera so we can still live stream the meetings and make them accessible to people who can't attend in person. That's just me personally.
Yeah. That's great.
How would you equip that with microphones, given it's a big empty room with tables to move?
Well, we have an account with Zoom, and I think they have a hardware package you can get to essentially create a Zoom room. So one omnidirectional mic that would sit, relatively central to the panel, and a camera in the room that would pick up the feed and project it out.
And then
I don't know what the cost is. I have to look into it. I don't know if $1,000 is right or not. I can come back with some updated numbers next week.
Okay. And at the end of the meeting, you pick it all up and lock it in the closet.
Exactly.
Okay.
So quick question, where would like the broken window, where would that be covered, or does the county pay for that?
No, the county, well, actually, I don't know what our lease agreement technically says, but we have 2 windows that have chips in them that need to be fixed.
That would be county.
That's exterior, right?
Yeah, it's the building itself. If you're renting a house from somebody and there's a broken window, do you go out and replace it? Or do you call the owner and go, your window's broken. And they go, did you break it? You go, yes, I did. They go, you pay. You go, no, I did not break it. It's broken. You fix it. So
Yeah.
that's an owner responsibility, unless we're somehow culpable for it, which I don't know of
Right.
anything that would say we are.
Yeah, we certainly, I think it's probably a thrown rock from a lawnmower or a weed whacker or something that did it, but
But we don't know. It's their building and their windows that they put in. So
Yeah.
we don't want to be in the business of trying to find people to fix their windows.
all right.
Maybe they can put in nice windows next time.
I would not
It-
touch that.
Yeah, let's
That whole thing went away.
20 years from now when we're doing the building again,
Right.
we'll get nice windows.
Pink house expenses, maintenance and repairs, 5,000. I'm okay with that. I mean, what happens is when it needs maintenance. What do we do
When
with
is
this?
that, when is that roof gonna have to happen? Cause that's,
The roof is not bad. I think it's the painting, the building and stuff, but is Reagan on here?
Yeah, I'm still on. Yeah, we've got some work to do underneath. So I'll be getting a quote from Juan on that, number one. And number two, as programmatically, we need to figure out when that gets painted, because it's in worse and worse shape, and the windows are horrible in that whole building. So there's big things that need to be done if that's, the plan is to hold that long term.
I think that's the plan, right? Yeah, I don't see us getting rid of it.
That's the plan. That's the plan for now. The windows kind of are what they are. I don't know what you do there, but one thing I just want to throw out there: have people thought about returning it to its appropriate color if we paint it?
I think it'd be great.
Yeah. Okay. Good. All right.
How did it become pink? What's the story there?
It was pink.
Pink family.
If you go on the back side and open up the door that's where the electrical meter is, you can see what color it used to be.
Earl Lee got about 25 cans of pink paint, which fell off the back of a truck. And the net result was we got a lot of pink houses that Earl had purchased at the time back 40 years ago. That's why
awesome.
we've got a pink house.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was he got the paint for like cheap or very little.
Sounds like I got him off a fence.
Yeah. It's just like in the old days, we would walk into the Clifton store and there would be a pile of Ked's sneakers, which also had fallen off
never
the back of
used
the
and
truck.
only dropped once.
Okay. Somehow he's gotten these shoes and he got this paint. So the pink house being pink it's classic. That would be fun. That's even better than, ironically, I was going to say that's even better than painting the caboose to make the pink house pink again, but we already made the caboose pink.
We just didn't intend to.
Yeah.
Yes, the caboose is pink and the pink house is yellow.
Yeah.
No one knows what.
Doing a great job, guys. Everyone's doing great.
All right. Town
Where
elections.
would you cover things like the bridge needing repainting? Is that a capital expense or is that
Which bridge?
the one coming into town?
Oh, the handrails and stuff, you mean?
Well, the whole thing is chipped. I mean, is that something we pay? I mean, I thought we paid for painting
Yes,
it before.
we pay for
We did.
paint, and so assuming we did, where would it go?
Normally paint we don't capitalize on.
Right.
But considering the chipping and everything, you're probably putting in a goop paint that we could capitalize on because it's going to help the structure.
I don't mind expensing it. The question was which line.
Where is it going to be?
Would cover it.
Yeah, it's probably parks maintenance or something like that. It falls into that
I don't know.
open space. We don't have it explicitly in here.
Down here in parks, I mean, there isn't a
Landscape
place. It's a
ground
great question.
maintenance.
I don't think we have something because you could
Try-
even think traffic and
Yeah.
safety as well. I don't know.
You have triangle maintenance there too. I don't know.
Where's,
Probably down here in line 187. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the one asset that we don't have listed on our insurance list of assets either, Bill, come to think of it.
well, and it's kind of funny, that's not our asset. We don't own
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, VDOT
My
owns the bridge. Right?
understanding was that the non-standard wooden rails were requested by the town, and once again, the county doesn't maintain that because it's non-standard.
Ooh, so
But
yes.
do they consider it theirs, Reagan, or ours?
Do they have it insured?
Ownership wise, I
Or-
don't know.
Or do
but
we
it's,
need to have it insured? I think is the question, right?
It's
I
ours.
think they would be required to have a rail on a bridge that is theirs. So
That
the
you
fact
can
that we
walk
asked for it to be wood as opposed to not wood is the difference, but I
Yeah.
would guess that they.
That wouldn't
consider
make it our property, right? Yeah.
yeah, we'll find out when it has to be replaced, I guess. But
Okay,
it's in good shape other than painting, I think, for the
Yeah.
time being.
as long as we're talking about that, one thing I looked at when I was coming back, and I don't know whether this would work or not, but would it be possible to blow a bunch of those trees out to make a real walking space? From there to
The floodplain?
lodge?
The what?
From the
To the
bridge
parking lot.
to the Masonic Lodge. Right now, what happens is you come off the bridge and you have to walk 4
Across.
feet towards, no, you gotta walk 4 feet towards the road, right along the edge of the road. And then once you get to the Masonic Lodge, you walk back away from the road. And I was thinking, why couldn't you just clip these trees down and make that the natural, so you'd walk straight off the bridge all
Yeah.
the way in, it'd be a lot safer.
Yeah, the earth is a little dicey there, just for putting a path, but I agree that would be much safer.
It'd be nice to talk VDOT into modifying those guardrails to haul them back a little bit or redesign them so you don't hit them on both ends.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yes,
Yeah,
so
this is one
anyway,
of the items that's in the hazard plan. If funding becomes available, but it's great to have an idea of what we'd like to see there in terms of safer pathways for pedestrians to be crossing.
well, right there, because we'd like people to actually use that parking area. And if there was a clear walkway from there to the town, I think it would encourage that. It would also be safer. Clearly the stream is eating out the stream bed. And that might fit into hazard mitigation, Lynn, that the stream bed needs to be shored up. Now, NVCT, I don't know if they own that land there, but they certainly get all excited whenever anybody wants to fix the stream bed. But to me, that's just a logical thing that ought to be done. The lodge isn't going to have the money to do that. I think it'd be expensive to do it right, but we might be able to get a grant to do that. And frankly, if it goes much further, VDOT's going to have to do it because it's going to impinge on the road or infringe on the road as well. So I looked at that too.
Doesn't this get into Chesapeake Bay stuff also?
Yeah, it'd be, well, all that. It'd be, I mean,
Yeah.
you're not in the floodplain or in the what's that called? The protected
Yeah.
zone or
You're in the RPA. You've got the whole waters of the US issues with, Corps of Engineer federal permits and all that stuff. It just turns into a life of its own.
But you're literally working on the stream bank. It is doable. It has been done before. In the past, they just came out and put rocks in. So that's one way to do it. But if you want to actually get the permits, it's a lot of work.
The Masonic Lodge got into all sorts of trouble with that when they did their parking
Yes.
area,
Yeah,
which is
but you
exactly
can,
where we're talking about doing something.
but not only can you obviously do this, VDOT did this on the other side. Remember when Clifton Creek Drive was falling in?
Yeah, sure.
They went in and shored up the stream bed, so it wasn't eroding away the road. And the same thing's going on here. So it's obviously doable. And I think it should be done. And at some point it will have to be done. But if we did that, then we could perhaps put this walking path in, which is really just a matter of cutting. You know, if Tom Stokes spent a day, he'd take some trees out and we'd be done. So anyway, I looked at that and thought, why do I have to keep walking out almost into the street for 15 feet and then back? Okay. Want to throw that out, food for thought. Town elections, I have no idea. So 1400's fine. There's an, oh shoot, there's an election coming up in
November.
Yeah, when everybody else gets elected.
The state election, yeah.
The state
Yeah,
election.
we shouldn't have to pay for this anymore, should we? Because the town elections have now been merged into the state election.
I imagine we're gonna get some sort of pro forma invoice for our portion of it. I would not expect the county to just pay for it and not invoice us.
I would hope the county just does it and doesn't invoice us, because frankly, they thrust it upon us the way they did it. But I wouldn't be surprised.
I say we leave the 1400 in here and see
Well,
what
I agree.
happens.
I agree.
They last charged us on July 1st, 2021 for 1100.
Mhm. What?
Yeah, and that was a negotiated invoice. Remember, they tried to bill us some ridiculous amount of money and we went back to them and said, what in the heck is this for?
It looks
That
like you
was
negotiated to the exact amount of the previous year billing,
Yeah.
Okay.
to the cent. So I guess we'll see what they do.
That's weird.
The
Anyway,
distinction there was that this was a unique election for Clifton. They had to run their
Yeah, they ran it out of the town
processes
hall
only
and
for
yep.
Clifton.
Yep.
Right.
And now
I hear what you're
that's all
saying,
gone.
Steve. I don't think it would be
No,
right
I
for
agree
them
with
to
you.
invoice
Leave
us,
it
but
in.
I expect them to.
Yeah.
okay. The other point is, though, the election's in November. I don't know when the sign up date is.
I think it might have passed.
Because remember,
The election website is not an easy thing to navigate, and there's a couple different deadlines that I saw in there.
they've changed everything around. The dates are different. Everything's different. And this will be the first time that we're looking at these new dates to register as candidates. It may be that almost everyone is running as a write-in. Or maybe it hasn't passed. Who can even tell, honestly? But we need to find that out. Normally it was elections were in May and you had to sign up by like February or something. So it was
Yeah.
three months. And you wouldn't think this would change to 9 months or something.
The two dates that I saw, April 6th was one of the deadlines that I saw, and the other one was like June something in June.
Wait a minute. Are you
that
talking
early.
about for a November election of next year?
Of this
No,
year,
This year.
2023. The state legislature is elected in
Is
this year.
2023.
Yeah.
And the
And-
town election's 2023.
Right. And you would have to register for that as a candidate in May?
Well, we don't know.
Yeah,
Either April or June, Daryl's saying.
correct. I've registered I'm running for reelection again, and I registered like a month ago. Because I couldn't tell, and I just was like, I better get it done by the earlier of the two dates that I saw. I believe the first date may have been a primary deadline, and we don't have a primary. We don't do party elections. So the other date, I believe, is sometime in June.
That sounds more like it.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to put that, Daryl let me know, I'd forgotten about it too. Put that on everybody's radar screen to look, if anybody gets info on it. As I said, back in the past, it was the same every time. It was just towns. It was in May. They had the same guidance. They had the same dates. And now we have this whole rejiggered thing. And so I expect it to be confusing and difficult.
And there's been a pretty significant staff turnover at the Board of Elections as well. So just be prepared for that if you go in person to fill your stuff out. They don't have the forms there. You should print them off online at home if you can, or, fill them out and print them out. It's a whole thing.
All right, so everybody's on notice about that, and there are all these things you got to fill out, but as a tiny town, we're exempt from the financial disclosures and all that, but that assumes the people there know that and whatever.
Yeah. Also, you'll need a couple signatures notarized, so be prepared for that. They have a notary that's there sometimes on Friday.
Okay. Town park lawn maintenance. What is that? Is that grass? No, that's not grass mowing. Okay. Town park lawn maintenance. Okay.
Our mowing is somewhere else. Let me check
Yeah.
this exact
It's right
one.
below. It's right
Yeah,
below.
weeding is extra. So whenever it's required.
Would
we
that be like
generally add that to
aerating
them
and
so that they
fertilizing
can,
as
do
well,
that.
or would that be like aerating as well? They do it.
Well,
Could be, yeah.
If we request it, it's an on-demand thing. It's not
Yeah.
automatic. What about the Harris Park extension, Reagan? Are they going to mow that? I mean, at some point they'll have to.
Yeah, I think we mowed it once or twice last year. The thinking was let it kind of recover so that it's filling in a little bit. I haven't gone up there and looked at it lately.
Yeah.
But provided we get some decent rain and get things started up there. If we needed to put some more seed on that, we can assess that. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know if anybody else has been up there.
I think it's spotty. I think more seed would be a big plus. I don't know wouldn't seeding be nowish?
Yeah, it should be now before it gets too hot. Give it a chance to get going.
Who does that? Stokes?
Tommy did it previously. If we like that, we could hire him again.
Yeah. All right. We'll see if he can find somebody to seed it again. And I talked to Tom. He said he could do it. So.
Okay. Yeah, we could probably walk it again. I think the mowing guys complained about a few spots that had some roots and stuff sticking up from the stuff that was removed. I think he did a good job of grubbing it out, but there was a few items that were still catching on the mower, so we could get that all done maybe at the same time.
Yeah, Tommy will knock that down. Probably came up and he didn't know about it. Political signs. Fairfax. I just got a little thing here about political signs. It says for the county of Fairfax, call blah blah. Town of Herndon, call blah blah. Town of Vienda, call blah blah. Town of Clifton, call 703-830-2727.
That's Donna Netchert. That's Donna Netchert's phone number.
At the front door.
That's crazy. There you go. Good times. You should put Royce's number in there.
That's what you get for chairing the ARB, buddy.
Yeah. All right. Grass mowing good. Trash collection. How are we doing there? That looks like it's a little light to me.
He gets a little behind on invoicing and we pay him up. I did have him through February is his last check, and then that's
the second item, Nick. The first one is American or whoever we've used.
Oh,
then we've got the art guild.
Well, we're at 1625.
They increased us.
Yeah.
American Disposal increased us.
So that ought to be like $2,200.
Yeah, they're at about 200 per. Yeah, 2224.
Is that just the receptacles by the town hall?
No.
What all is picked up with that?
The park, the caboose. So Chuck puts it all in rollers, which they pick up.
Okay. And he brings it all to one spot where they pick it up from, right?
No, I mean, he's not going to bring, he would bring the.
Well, all the stuff from the park to the park entrance. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Okay.
2,400.
Yeah.
Nick? All right. Trash consolidation, Chuck, 2,600. Does that sound all right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I know he's been picking up a lot of accelerated polystyrene, or what's it called?
Extruded
Polystyrene. I know he's been getting a lot of them. So, fire.
I would add, just for the general knowledge of the group, I would add that the fact that we have a contract with the Art Guild is about the only thing that we can claim as an expense for our litter grant.
Yeah, it's
and
fantastic.
that covers it. If we didn't have that, we would probably be scratching our heads trying to figure out how to spend that $1,300 or $1,400, because the regular trash tipping is not allowed as an expense against that.
But it's perfect. It's a grant to a small town like us where we have to take unique measures to make sure we're not covered in trash and filth everywhere. We've been creative. I mean, this is exactly, we're like the poster child.
The day that stops, though, is going to be a problem for us. So,
well, maybe we'll find someone else.
Yeah.
Who can do it? I mean, Chuck, he's got a good 30 years ahead of him. So
yeah, that's true.
He's going strong on that trash collecting stuff. Utilities, electric, whatever, 1,100, 1,300. That sounds, I don't know, that sounds a little low to me. A little low.
1,500.
Yeah.
The litter control grant expense is the offsetting amount that you want to have down here. It's blank
on 134.
Oh, yes.
Whatever we're carrying up above, you'll want to.
We talked about it last time because it's the Art Guild. We could combine the two, but we kept it as the Art Guild.
No, that's right. It would be embedded in the 2,600 rate.
Well, unless we carry the EPS, because we don't get any credit for EPS with Chuck. He only covers half of it.
I understand.
Yeah.
We dropped the EPS up top.
But the expense probably takes it all out. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you need to do anything here. Out of it'd be like if you took the 2,600 and broke it into 1,300.
Yeah.
Trash consolidation art. You get the idea.
I'm with you. Yeah.
All right. Conference attendance, $1,000. In fact, we got negative $4.53. We should probably.
We received $4.53 for attending conferences.
If you that's 9 months. You extrapolate that, it'd be $6.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good conference.
Yeah.
It was just the timing. So the original charge happened in the previous year, $530, and then there was a small refund that happened on the next credit card statement. So I suggest leaving it, considering that she'll probably go back to the conference. Amanda, is that right?
Leave them in here.
Okay.
Why is Virginia Municipal League 0?
The expense, we budget 500. Hold up. The membership should have been redone in July. Let me look into it.
And we got to make sure it was done. If there's a problem.
Yeah, we don't want to be behind on that, right?
No, the VML is really valuable.
Okay.
So check on what happened there. Because it should be this year then, right? If it's July. Okay.
Oh, we paid our insurance. Yep, I'll reach out to them.
Yeah, reach out to them, and if they go, you guys never paid, you're horrible. It'd be like, oh, sorry, I can't believe it. And make sure
they haven't had any reach out to me. We did pay through VML for the insurance. I'm just gonna reach out to those contacts and hopefully get where membership is.
My guess is there's an insurance fee and a VML fee. And if you recall, they broke insurance out. It's got some new name. Like they split it off from VML proper, which frankly is a good idea. And VML is the Municipal League Feel Good Help Out Association. And the insurance is literally like pooled insurance. And it goes by some other name. And we may think that by paying for insurance, we've joined VML, but that's not the case.
Okay.
So
VRSA is the insurance entity.
yeah, but it
Virginia
used to
Risk.
be, like
All
called
in one.
VML insurance or something. And they changed it. I think that's fine. So we may be delinquent on our VML dues, which we don't want to be. VML is really important.
Okay. I will track it down and get it. Well, while we're on it, I'll work on the third screen here.
Flowers, barrels, and flagpole planter, 1,000. Okay. Christmas tree lighting. Tell me about
Yeah,
that.
I think on that item, Laura has approached Donna about reviving that whole effort because nothing's been done down there in a few years.
Okay, but
She would be willing to do that as a probably non-volunteer on a very regular basis to make it look much nicer, including the barrels that are on the other side of the street that have kind of been forgotten. I guess they're going to be replaced potentially with half wine barrels, as long as we've got somebody that's willing to care and water throughout the summer. Or Donna, I guess Donna approached Laura about it. It was Donna's ask to try to do something that's nicer.
okay, so we got money here, and I guess we look for a proposal.
Yeah, we can wrap that into the next update next week.
How much was the tree lighting last year? Was it 1,200?
I think it was, yeah.
All right,
Nick, did
Yep.
that finally get paid?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah.
sounds good. I mean, it looks spectacular. Banner replacement. Are we going to put the banner up? I know it got stolen. Banner replacement.
I think we could probably delete that line.
That's not that banner. That's the Welcome to Clifton banners. It's been on the budget for a long time.
Oh,
I need to take a look to see if we have any unused ones, because it's time to replace those.
Are we talking about the ones at the top of the power poles and stuff?
Yeah, the Welcome to Clifton banners, the little telephone
Oh,
pole banners.
that's not the
So
flag.
let me check on that
replacement?
one.
we should put money
Those
in.
are American flags, if you haven't
okay.
noticed those around town. So I'll check. Yeah, we'll probably have to put money in that. I don't know that we have enough spares to replace all the ones that are up today. So I'll check on that for next meeting.
Okay.
I'll get a quote as well from I think we got those from Carrot Top.
We had the print file, right? From that original design work that we had done. I think we should have that.
I could probably
They
find
should
it in
have it.
email. They should have it as well.
That's what Carrot Top's doing now.
Yes, he has a whole business of municipal decorations.
Whole second career. That's good. Flag replacement. Okay, $500. Railroad siding boxes, $750. All right. Citizen recognition fund. Citizen recognition funds, $750. Okay. I don't know who were to recognize somebody. Web server annual maintenance, 1,100. We spent 1,200. Domain subscriptions. Well, I don't know.
Is Clinton Darla included in that, Amanda?
I'm sorry, what?
For the web server annual maintenance with domain subscriptions, looks like we're a little over what we had projected. I wasn't sure if Clinton Darla's fees are included in there or not.
I'm not sure. The Clint and Darla's invoices go to Nick.
Okay.
Hold on one moment.
The domain,
That's Growth Media Services, Nick.
the .gov domain is up for renewal, but I think that they were working on reducing the fee for that.
Yes, Growth Media is here.
That's covered in the 1193 that we see there.
Correct.
Okay.
We charge $840 per, and then there was an additional services last year for another $300. That's why we have the 1,100 right there, and that's why they're at 12. I don't think it should go up though.
So you think 1,100 is good for the coming year?
I do. I did put on the next line though, considering our conversation and wanting the community hall and the website increases. I'll put $1,000 extra, but that's a conversation for the council.
Yeah,
All right,
we're gonna.
let's go to that. What are we talking? So tell me what this first one is. Web server annual maintenance domain subscription, $1,100.
So that's annual fees that we pay for the website domains that we own, and then regular maintenance on our website, hosting and maintenance and stuff.
So I hope that we're not paying for the Clifton-va.com, which is still active, as well as the .gov. And I don't know who sorts that out, or if our contract only worries about the .gov website, but we have two websites out there.
We only got one charge from HostGator a year. It was $54 for the year, but Amanda can speak to it.
I think we need to make the .com just go away.
Those websites are mirror images of each other. I also would like to and have advocated that we get rid of the .com website and domain. I mean, the best practices would be that we would have kept it around for maybe a year, but at this point we've had that mirror image website for a long time, and I think it's confusing for people, and I see it get cited a lot in semi-official communications. I would like it to go away.
Yeah, it should have had a redirect. It should have had a redirect on it for a year at best, not a mirror image.
I'm not sure you want to get.
I thought we had a redirect, but I agree with Steve. I think we maintain ownership of it, because if we let it go, somebody else gets it and then can do whatever they want with it.
But if
a real estate agent picks it up or something, I think you want to redirect and just leave it as a redirect, because people have a tendency to type in .com. But if you let go of that name, somebody's going to grab it, and then you have no idea of what they're representing as Clifton.
Everyone agrees. Everyone agrees. So how is it hard to do this redirect thing? Who does that?
Rather than a mirror, I think it should just forward. URL forwarding should be a relatively basic thing.
Okay. And who would take care of that?
I think Donna and Clint Darla and Clint should be able to help us out at Growth Media Services to get that set up. So get a request into them.
You will request them to do that?
I can reach out to them and ask. Yeah.
Please do. Yes, I agree with that. And yes, we should keep it for all the reasons that were just said. Okay. All right. So that's that. What website updating and configuration 2000 community call rental online? What on earth are we paying $2,000 for? What is that?
Where is this?
This is me increasing for community hall rental process going through the website.
Right. So this would be updating the website to be able to collect forms, payment, etc., for any town hall reservations, and it could be used for use permit applications, ARB applications, really anything where people are paying the town money. I would like to see us set up a way to do that via the town website, so that the form collection and the payment collection can be done online in one place.
What sets the amount? The service, or is it usage based?
Well, it would depend on what service we go through to get it. Okay. I haven't gotten any formal quotes yet. I think $2,000 might be reasonable. I don't know.
So there would be the fees associated will be
transaction
who sets
fees.
it up, and then it would be a merchant fee transaction that would fall into bank service fees.
Okay.
The bank service fees you negotiate, it would be whoever sets it up. So if it is hosted through Square or hosted through others, they have these pretty easy clickable stuff, but they take a percentage, which is fine considering the amount that we would save on postage just from checks not coming and deposits, all that. But I put it up to 2,000 because I think that's what it would take. Darren and I spoke last week or so. I was going to speak with a web developer I know to see what could be done for what amount.
This is a request I could put into Clint and Darla as well. See, if they've done this type of thing for other municipalities. So we can by the time we meet again, we can have a more accurate beat on it.
All right.
Daryl, as a part of that, will you please ask Darla what would be needed in order to make the website secure? Because right now we don't have SSL.
Okay.
And we definitely need that. I mean, at
Yeah.
a certain point, a lot of people's browsers are just not going to let them visit the town website. But
Yep.
especially if you want to start taking payments, you'll want to get
Agreed.
SSL.
I mean, I worry, I don't know what the scope would be, but if we're collecting $10,000, first I think of the planning commission, the ARB, we collect about $600, and I wouldn't want to pay $2,000 to enable that service. So what?
Right, but if we're
is it?
collecting 11,500 through reservations for the town hall,
And I have difficulty with a 20% cut for that. So I don't know. So the 20% there is still a little much for me.
well,
If
I don't
it's-
think that's an annual number. That's like
Okay.
a number to get it set up. I don't know
Okay.
what the annual
Okay.
recurring number is, but again, we can have a tighter beat on this
Okay.
once we,
And the recurring
Okay.
number is nowhere near 20%.
Hope not. Okay. All right. Clifton Halloween night, $200. Okay, fine. Town cleanup, 150. Campfire event, 250. Environmental event, 200. Wildlife preservation, Mark K, 500. Okay. Haunted trail event, we got 12, 7, 15, 17. What do we want here? Daryl.
oh, I'm sorry. This is expenses for the town, for the haunted trail? Yeah.
That's
I think-
correct.
Yeah, 15,000. I think 15,000 is probably right. You have it at 17,1.
Sounds.
I
Yeah.
increased it to 15. We have 2,100. That's about the rent for the year for the
Yeah.
storage space. And then you came in at about 10 grand for the event. So I increased it a little bit.
Yeah, I think 15,000 is the right number to budget for our expenses.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
All right. So
That
we
is-
leave it at 17.1 because that's the rent as well.
gotcha. Yeah, that's good. Yep.
Mhm.
That's the storage cost, annual storage cost, right? When you say rent.
Correct.
Yep.
Historic events, $500. Let me see. All right. Oral history, $500. Town museum, $0. Historic town documents, $750. I'd like to make historic events $750 and town documents $500. We're actually doing some of that, and I don't know how much it'll be. Well, no, leave the documents at $750. We're actually doing that for the Harris Park sign. Historic events, but bump that up. I'm thinking we're gonna do this event for the Harris Park sign. And I don't know how much that's gonna be. But how much, I don't know, what are people's thoughts on that? People are gonna come in, they're gonna talk, we're gonna do the sign unveiling. The sign is separate. This is just the event, so it's, and I'm not a fan of this. People let me know what you think, but people like to hire entertainers to come in. I don't know. Thoughts?
I don't think we need to start hiring entertainers. I think the people who want to celebrate this event are going to be willing to participate. I just don't, I think 500 is fine.
Let's,
Weren't we discussing maybe the members of the church coming down and
yes,
and participating? Imagine that I agree with Steve. Like if there's some sort of a performance that they might want to do as a part of it, that could suffice, but no need to
Yeah,
push
I
it.
know their congregation travels from a pretty good distance, right?
yes.
Would it be reasonable for us to make a contribution to their
No,
organization as part of this? No?
I don't think so. I don't think so. But I would like, I mean, there's gonna be refreshments, so I'd like this, if we can make it 750, it's a one-time thing. We won't be doing it again. In future years, there will be others, but for this particular year, I want to make sure that we've got, it's not a huge amount. But
I
it's
don't
enough
object.
to say, make it, make it special. Everybody's all excited Juneteenth, if we can get it done by then, which I doubt, or the fall or whatever. Let's do it right. Storage for historic artifacts. Oh shit. Yes. What have we? Are we getting reimbursed for this storage of historic artifacts? I'm asking my wife, who may or may not be on. Nick,
We don't have
you-
any expense there, just to let you know.
Okay, that's
I am on.
okay.
It was just across
And
the room.
are we being reimbursed for the storage of historic artifacts?
Oh, no, we're not. Are you talking about
Okay.
Clifton Elementary?
Yes.
Oh, no.
All right. Okay, so there's $2,400 here in the budget. Is that number reasonable?
No, it's up to 130 a month now.
Okay.
Phyllis, where is
And we
this
also-
being expensed or paid?
Well, it's not. It's
My
not
credit
because
card.
For 10 years, we've never asked for money for it. So we spent $20,000 or some damn thing. Not that I mind, obviously.
This is all the stuff from when they closed down Clifton Elementary that we put in storage. The PTA paid for it for a year. And then they transitioned it over to me to transition to the town.
Yep. It's stored stuff that's artifacts from Clifton Elementary for, we were going to put in a museum or something we'd put in that cart down to the manse if we were to go from that, but we don't. So it's $130 a month.
Mm-hmm. We could also
Okay.
shop around to see if there's something cheaper.
That's
One-
pretty
But
cheap.
we also have things stored in our house
Yeah, well, that's
that have been
good.
in our house
Yeah.
for free.
Yes. 130 a month is 1560 a year. Is there tax or something? Is it extra? Like 2,400 too much?
Hold on, I'll look at an old bill.
There should not be tax because it's for a municipality.
Yes, but a municipality is not paying for it and it hasn't been registered.
Yeah, well, it needs to be.
That's
Okay, I think the number's 1,600, and I think at least for this year, I'd like to see something submitted on that. So Nick, you're on notice that it'll be coming in. The previous years, I guess that's contribution. It's what do they call that? I mean, donations. Homes tour, so make that 1,600. All right, there you go.
hold on. I'm just looking to get precise data.
Okay.
It's 133.62. So 130. I mean, what you have said is fine.
Well, not 133 point. I mean, it's just math. 1603. Okay. Close enough.
So that's 1,600. Yeah.
Yeah. Good enough. Homes tour expenses $1,500. Thoughts? Lynn would be the
Yeah,
one.
I think that's right. It's just, I would say it's just a little bump up. You know, if we have more participants, maybe the after party's a little bit bigger. Yeah, just little details, inflation.
Okay, so 1,500 is the number.
1,600 sounds right. We were just above 1,400 this past year.
All right, 1,600 it is. Legal advertising. Yeah, we used to do this all the time. It's been a light year. And we will again. So it'll be going on. 2,000 seems pretty high to me, but whatever. Mayoral reimbursement, we should knock that up and make it a lot higher, but we can leave it there for now. Haven't put in for the reimbursement lately. We need to.
Well, Bill, what that was is, I think they were when people passed away and we bought flowers.
No. It's in case the mayor did something. Like, it's not, you're not getting paid. Like if you went to some conference or whatever is where that came from. And I like if I passed away, I guess we got $500. Okay. Town Association of Northern Virginia event, keep it. Maybe somebody will do it at some point. It's a nice organization. They're very active. They got people have a lot of energy and time, more than we do. Miscellaneous expenses. Okay, good to know. Parks Committee, Town Park. Landscape ground maintenance. This is the one we were talking about earlier. And we added, what did we add in here, Reagan?
The bridge.
The
Painting
bridge.
A bridge.
See, it's in the notes onto the right.
But don't say bridge. You got to say bridge. What is that thing called?
Railing.
Bridge railing.
Bridge railing.
Bridge railing. Just write bridge railing. That way we'll all remember
You
it.
can say Main Street bridge railing so people don't think it's the one at the 8-acre park.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Main Street bridge railing. Okay. We got 5,000 there. Looks all right. Air Square Christmas trees replacement. I think that should be singular. Tree replacement. Okay, fine. The TBD item. By the way, is that a capital item or a maintenance? I guess it's maintenance. I don't know what it is. I don't care. It's fine. Expensive.
Kind of depends, I think, when the time comes. If
Okay.
and when. If you guys are going with the nice tree or the cheap tree, because I think one of them was only $56 that we were looking at.
Yeah. No, I like that because you get the ones I like. Have you guys been down to the 8-acre park? Just outside the entrance to the 8-acre park, we planted 4 trees. Amanda, when I say we, by we, I mean Amanda planted 4 trees down there and put stuff around it. You have to get real close and kind of get down on your knees, but then you can see the trees. I like
It's like
that
Charlie
sort of
Brown
thing.
tree.
Yeah.
Do they have leaves yet? I haven't checked on them.
I don't know.
I hope
That's the
they're
kind
alive.
of tree. That's the kind of tree I like.
Those
Yeah.
are free.
We're putting a Christmas tree light on it and we're all done.
Exactly. Yeah, one light, small light.
Sure,
Yeah.
whose land they ended up on though? Is that Chuck's? I don't know.
We're moving right along. Signage upgrade. So what is signage upgrade? What was that?
This one has 0. We capitalized on all the signage we did this year,
All right.
mostly traffic stuff.
Just leave it. Tree trimming and replacement planting. Playground. Okay, this is fixing trees. That sound all right? The $2,000? It's not really a lot. Tree trimming and replacement planting, playground, air square. That's not a lot of money if you got to do trees.
Yeah, that doesn't even get us a day. I would probably make that 5 just so that we can have a couple days of tree work if we need it.
5,000.
If we need it.
Agreed. Playground equipment maintenance, 2,000. Okay. Fall zone mulching. Management.
We have to do that every year.
We don't do it every year, but what's the plan on that? Didn't we have someone fluff it? Yeah, Reagan, what's up with the mulching there?
I think we've gotten away with every other year, but it probably needs it again. And that's for the kids' playground area.
Yeah, we don't want to do it every year. And what's the deal with those mushrooms? Is that something we should yank out at some point because they're a hazard or what?
Yeah, I mean, we learned when we had the playground inspected that any apparatus that's within 6 feet of that, the wooden perimeter that goes around the whole thing,
Yeah,
is, technically too close. So if somebody falls off that, they're gonna hit something hard rather than,
I mean,
the mulch.
No one goes on these mushrooms, and the spider to me is and always has been just art. It's like a sculpture. So I don't really see that as a play thing, and I don't think anybody plays on it. I mean, I do sometimes. But the mushrooms, they just seem like they're, I don't know. We'll figure it out. It's another time. But unless we want a line for mushroom removal, but I don't.
Yeah, they're deteriorating. So
That's what I'm saying. And last time one of them broke off, and all it left was a steel rebar pole sticking up through the.
no, I cut that off.
Yeah, and that to me is poor playground equipment.
Yeah.
Okay. Traffic, parking, and safety committee 500. Okay. Welcome baskets, expressions of sympathy 0. All right. It seems like we should put $500 in there. Thoughts? Please put $500 in there. Is that enough? We can't.
Yeah, that's fine. I've been paying for things like that. I never reimbursed.
When you say, quote, I've been paying for that, yes. Okay. So
Yes.
we've been paying for that. Yes.
My credit card has been paying for it.
Okay. Yes. Well, we should get reimbursed at some point, but whatever. Okay. Anyway, we can't have expressions of sympathy in a budget with 0. That's kind of actually pretty funny. Spring egg hunt. Okay, fine. Emergency repairs, new line item. I don't even, that's another
500.
In case you, right before miscellaneous other.
Well, we've kept that on there for the year that the flood happened and the bridge got washed away and knocked the rails out and washed the approaches out. We ended up spending quite a bit, so that's kind of a.
I personally don't mind having these in here as long as when we look at the budget numbers and people don't have a meltdown and go, well, we've got this, like the way I went through the 40, 40, 40, 40, and now you're like, oh, now it makes sense to me. Here you're going to have things we absolutely will spend, and other things like legal fees and this and that you might spend, but you hope you don't have to. And they're more in a potential spend mode, and they're big and chunky.
Yeah, I think that, with a couple more years of experience on this, what I would probably do there, Bill, is carry $2,000 to $3,000 deductibles for our insurance, because the bridge damage should have been an insurance claim, and I don't even know if we did it way back when. But since then, we've been more savvy, so that when the triangle gets run over by a Prius or somebody breaks a window at the Pink House, we're able to recover those things minus the deductible. So I think 2 to 3 incidents would be prudent.
Okay, 2 to 3 incidents. All right. So we've got 75 and 75. Are you okay with those for now, or do you think we should do anything with them now?
But the budget is 1,500, right?
What?
And you split it between those two. 15,000, and you split it between the two.
Yes, correct.
Okay. All right.
Now, if the HVAC unit in the pink house craps out again, that's not an insurable item. So there are some catastrophic things like that we might discover that something needs a roof or whatever. But I guess it's a question of having something that's insurable and things that aren't a little bit. But
all right. Celebrate Clifton Gala, nothing. Commercial district directional signage. This one continues to puzzle me, but there it is.
I think, isn't that to put a sign in Air Square to direct people down to Clifton House, that kind of stuff?
Yeah. And I've always waited on the business community to come forward. We actually begged them, come forward with a proposal. Tell us, what you would propose and where it would go and what it would look like.
I think we've got decent engagement with the owner of Virginia Mercantile. I think maybe that's something we ask her about. She may be a little more action oriented than maybe some of the folks we've engaged with in the past.
Yeah, that could be. I'm not looking to put signs in Air Square. However,
don't disagree with you, but
we want to be pro business, and we want to let them know that we're here to help, but we would expect them to take the initiative and come to us, not us go to them and say we designed a sign for you. So I'm not begging for this, but we're open to it.
Okay.
And right now it's in at 0 because we got nothing. Computer supplies, hardware and software. Where are we on that?
I don't know how old are our laptops at this point for the town?
I'm repurposing my work laptop, so I don't need another one. And then I believe, Amanda, let me know if I'm wrong. Did we replace yours?
Yeah, I have a new laptop and a new scanner.
Okay.
Right,
And those were recently purchased, right?
Yeah.
Is that
I
in that
capitalized on it.
292 or? Oh, okay.
Pretty sure I put it on the balance sheet for asset because it was over $500.
Okay.
Fine. Tell me about Zoom and Adobe.
Zoom costs are way up from year over year. Zoom, of course, is the hot ticket item since the pandemic. And then Adobe, we needed editing capability. And I pushed the first year and a half through my company. So it's Amanda's Adobe that we needed to get a license to. I don't expect it to go high again. It's at 892. That was our Zoom that just hit, Amanda. I think we need to speak with them. I think they're taking advantage.
Which one? Zoom? Wait,
yeah, Zoom was 8. That charge right there is only 892. Yep. So that charge is only Zoom, and it happened last month. Significant increase.
Yeah, my individual Zoom account, I keep a professional Zoom account for my own use, and it was like $160 this year, which is way more than when I signed up, and there was no notice of rate increase or anything like that. It was pretty sketchy.
Yeah. So with Zoom at work, you call, they reduce, and then they raise it back when no one's looking. So I bet we can bring it back down. I left it at 450 because I think that's where we can bring it back down. But I can increase it up to anybody's.
Well, who's calling Zoom?
I can send them a note.
Okay. And the reality is we use Zoom, 20 times a year? 30 times a year? It's not like it's something we're using 300 times a year. So, this price is fine. What do you want to put in?
The council and how many committees are using it? Is it just the planning commission, or is it ARB? ARB is meeting in person again now, right?
Yeah, so planning commission is too.
So we're talking like 15 meetings a year for $900. That sounds wrong.
That's insane. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I haven't looked at the packages recently, but when we started using the webinar function, that's when the price went up a lot. If we're just using, Zoom to do like conference calls, it's probably going to be a lot cheaper. But to do the webinars,
Yeah, essentially make
expensive.
them, separate participants from viewers and be able to live stream out to YouTube and that kind of stuff is a little different.
Yeah,
Yeah, at some point, if it's like $1,000, we tell them we're just gonna terminate, and not yet, but at some point, and we could meet in person and save $1,000. So.
How much is the
um,
Adobe?
I'm running it through my company, and then whatever Amanda's computer right now, it normally comes with a free year, but Amanda will have to speak to that.
I've never seen a free Adobe. I mean, if you just want the bare bones PDF maker, maybe, but for my work, I need the high version of Adobe where I can redact sensitive information before I send out or publish certain documents online.
What's the user license for that? Do you know?
What's the cost? Yeah.
Nick
Yeah.
does
Yep.
it. I don't know.
It looks like we got charged $137 for the year. It's not bad.
That seems
Yeah.
reasonable.
It's really, really essential.
Yeah, that doesn't seem
That's-
that's
It's a
unreasonable.
really
fine.
good price.
That's fine. It's the Zoom for $900 that seems.
But the Zoom is not $900 because it's Adobe and Zoom. That's what I was trying to figure out. How much went
Yeah, I
to
think that's just,
Adobe?
I think it's just on the same line. The
Yeah,
892.19 is just Zoom.
I'm
Zoom,
really
yeah,
confused because they're
correct.
on one line.
Correct.
So
Zoom came in at $892.19. And that was the same amount that they charged us the year before in 2021, but it used to be prior to your first couple of years of COVID, it was only $200, and Zoom
Should
did
we-
increase themselves 4 times.
Should we split Zoom and Adobe out into separate lines then?
Since Adobe's not in that number.
Yeah,
But Adobe's not in that number because Nick's treating it the same way you treat the storage cost. I don't mind the two. I don't mind the two being together.
That's the QuickBooks cost. I pay for that. That's on my credit card.
Yeah.
I have Adobe right now is falling in computer supplies commodities. It is falling in there. Oh, it's in the one above it, the 292 above it.
okay.
So I can move
That's
it down.
Adobe?
Well, whatever. I mean, as long as it should
Maybe-
be accurate, it should be on the
maybe,
right line.
Maybe split it out. So there's Zoom and Adobe would be the way to go.
Okay.
I think you guys are doing a great job, and I'm gonna have to leave at this point, but I think you're just doing a wonderful job on the budget.
All right. Okay.
Thank
Good. Thank you. And we're close here, other than.
Bye, Steve.
Bye,
Yeah.
Steve.
Thanks, Steve. See
If
ya.
we want to leave the capital improvements for next meeting, then we're close because that's what took the time last time.
We definitely want to have some discussion as to where we are on it, and there'll be, there'll be more discussion, but. All right, Zoom, and you're gonna check on the Zoom, but what number do we want in here for Zoom? $900? I don't want to pay that, but.
Yeah.
I want to make sure we've represented what we might get tagged with.
Yeah, let's try to get a revised number by the next meeting on that. I've sent a note out to Darla on the website stuff we talked about, so I'll hopefully have that for us.
Okay, Nick's gonna send something to Zoom.
Okay.
Yes? Nick?
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
Copies, $200. License plates, $100. Commodities, $300. Office supplies, what is that? What is the one that I get? Office supplies, I'm fine with that. I like pens and junk and pads of paper, but what's the $1,000?
$1,000. Let me look at the history real quick.
I mean, I think I remember Maryland used to spend a lot of money on like cartridges for printers and stuff.
Yeah, I get most things from my company. I'm not spending any money, including stamps. I'm just getting it all through the company. The last thing we have, Dropbox is going through here, and that's $12 a month. So that's the majority of that money. There's been a
I feel
Barnes
like-
and Noble charge.
I feel like
$43, but
Dropbox should be part of the hardware software costs.
Yeah.
And where's our Google license? Where is that falling in here? The emails and stuff. What do we pay? What do we pay for our Gmail accounts and stuff?
Let you know, G Suite.
Yeah. And where's that currently located?
Email system 840. I'll get back to you. The memo is not coming in as G Suite or Gmail.
I mean, that would be billed as part of growth media services invoice.
Okay. Okay.
So it is. So that's what this is, growth media. So it's part of the 840 annual. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you, Amanda. It does say G Suite in there too.
All right, office supplies, reduce it to something, $500?
I mean, is
Yep.
that like, Nick, like if I buy reams of printer paper, envelopes,
Ink.
printer cartridges?
Yeah, printer cartridge is the only thing that's going to be material, because paper and all that is just $10, $15
Yeah.
though.
I mean, the cartridges aren't cheap, but definitely I wouldn't
Not
spend
$1,000 a year.
that.
Right, so what number do you want to put on office supplies? I threw out $500.
Let's leave it there.
500? And I note there's something right above it called miscellaneous commodities, office services. You know, that is actually a non sequitur, right? To say commodities that are services, because commodities are not services. So what is that?
Like if I need to go to the print shop and get large prints or scans of plans of development.
Yeah. Is that copies?
Is that what you would call that, or would you?
I mean, that's what I'm guessing. I'm not sure.
But
I'm
that's
trying to get an example, but the QuickBooks just shut down on me, so it'll just be a moment.
well, they're all
There's nothing
they're all
built against it,
zero.
right?
Yeah, they're all
Yeah.
zero. I only when I see miscellaneous commodities, I would think
I was going to check over the last 10 years what it was used for.
okay. And then office equipment, which is not computers, that would be printers and scanners. Or no, that would be computer supplies. So it would be.
So it'd be anything that's under
staplers.
$500. That so if a computer or Chromebook would be under there if it was under 500. I think the printer is
No.
in here.
No, that would be computer supplies,
Hardware and software. Yeah.
right. So I don't know what like office equipment. I would
Be
think
like a chair, a
staplers.
desk, a monitor,
Yeah,
maybe.
not a monitor, but chair and desk. Postage and delivery, 600, now 623, 1,000. What is driving that? That's a big number. I'm not against it. I'm just curious.
Amanda does send the mail to me. That's the increase, and we've had a lot more this year. We can drive it back down once if we get payments going through the website. It's just a lot of paper.
Yeah, I spend probably $6 a week to send the mail to Nick.
Okay. Okay.
All right. That brings us to the bottom, right? Oh, now we got a CapEx.
Yep.
Most of here is let it ride. Besides the purchase of green space, which of course has occurred, and I've taken that out. So it's let it ride from the previous year, which just to remind everybody, it used to have as if streetscape was going to happen at any moment was in the previous capital budget, which was very useful for the stimulus. But the decision of this council last year was, if that does happen, we're going to have to meet anyway, and that's when we will increase the budget. Until then, what's it going to take just to streetscape? So we left the 58K and we left 42K. And then the stuff down here was all signage and stuff coming from Reagan's request.
Well, in mine, because we got the Harris Park stuff. So I want to talk about that stuff at the bottom. So this is two different items, okay? Two different items. Two different sets of items. One is streetscape. And I'll note that at the last meeting, we were asked to approve $500,000 to $600,000 in new spend on design and planning. That would take, as best I can tell, design and planning is $700,000-800,000.
Reagan, do you want to mute your phone?
Yeah, we're hearing you. So I don't know whether we need $200,000-300,000 in for streetscape revising plans or something. You know how I feel about it. I have my concerns, but my point is that's a discussion. I'm fine with what we have in here, which effectively I thought there was I thought the design work was done, and the only thing that was left was the design work didn't include underground and the utilities, so they had to tweak the design we already had. Which you go, how much could that cost? 50 grand? I don't know. Not $500,000 or $600,000.
Is that what they asked for? I thought it was like 106,000 all in.
No, and they said that there's another proposal J2's putting together that they're still reviewing that they'll bring next month for $420,000 in addition. Okay, we haven't seen it yet. Okay, so, and that was more management and design and something or other. It had nothing to do with construction, other than management of construction. So there's huge amounts out there that might come in, and we need to discuss that. Obviously, we need to discuss that anyway.
Yeah.
But for this budget, because right now what we have is, in case this incremental work needs to be done, which I thought was incremental work to get us to a decision.
To shovel ready, let's go.
Well, yes, no, where we go, yes, streetscape, no 1.1 million utilities, or yes to both or no to both. But we'd have all the information we need. We'd have pricing, we'd know about rights of way, and that people would give them or wouldn't give them, and what the cost would be. We'd have all the information.
Sounds like we're a long way off from that.
But this is where I had a concern last time. We were told, we want you to greenlight another 500,000 to 600,000 in spending, and then we'll decide whether to do it.
Yeah,
that didn't compute. Okay, but the reason I say that is this budget that carries us through the next year does not have that kind of funding in it. Now, what Nick said was, if something significant like that comes up, we would have a call, we would talk about it,
yeah,
and we would perhaps change the budget. So I like that approach. It's a good approach.
We have the ability to edit this budget mid-flight. It's like,
we just have to do a public hearing.
Right.
Okay, so there's extra cost and extra time, but it's a weighty step if you're going to drop, $500,000.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's the first half. Then we have the second half, which are cap items. Preliminary engineering and design for new sidewalk. That's been in here for 10 years.
Is that from Clifton Creek to the railroad? Is it in front of Marcus's place? Like which sidewalk are we talking?
It is. It's in front of Marcus's place. There was a request to actually do a design. And what happened was we talked to VDOT and they said it had to be
There wasn't enough room to be ADA compliant or whatever, and
8 feet back
Yeah.
from the road, 6 feet wide, and 10 feet from, like, you literally was impossible.
Yep.
to do. So, because we kept saying, could you give us the basic requirements? And they came back with some of them, which made it a non-starter, and frankly, would make it a non-starter on Main Street, whatever, going towards Clifton Creek.
Yep.
You'd need 15, 20 feet. You'd have to basically tear down
the front porch of
Trummers.
Trummers.
yeah,
Yeah.
to be able to do it. So we've never done that. Believe it or not, the guy who proposed this and asked for it was Steve. Back when he
I
was
remember.
he was
I
in
remember.
the audience.
Yep.
So I don't mind leaving this in, but I want everybody to know that's what it's for. And people ask the same thing with that sidewalk to railroad tracks to Clifton Creek. What somebody needs to do is be the champion of it. Go deal with VDOT and get VDOT to
Yeah.
tell us this exact stuff.
Yeah,
Okay?
we get enough people that are excited that want it real bad, but don't want to take it any further than asking for it.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So this is here just in case. New permanent signs. I don't know what that is, but let's go down a little bit more. New safety signs, traffic solutions. We bought that.
Yeah.
Done. Take it out.
So we don't need that again.
Take it out. Well, actually,
Or-
I might.
yeah, I was gonna
might
say
like
it.
a
I
few
was gonna
more.
say, yeah, I was gonna say that, like, I think the one coming into town off of Braddock,
Yeah.
super effective. I've been behind people that like clearly think it's a cop up there with their lights on.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
They've all been a huge winner. Well, they've all.
So
been-
should we, I think the pricing was around, the pricing was around 4,000 a piece. Should we leave one in there?
No, we already bought them.
Right. If we want to get one more, we want to get a couple more. Do we want to leave a
No.
line in here to get a couple? You were just joking. Okay.
I was just joking.
Well,
Yes.
you know, you have such a dry wit, Bill. You need to
It's
let us
true.
know when you're joking.
It's true. No, I'm surprised nobody complains about them, but the reality is they've had an enormous impact.
Yeah.
And the number of people that have flown into the floodplain has gone to zero, actually, versus like once a month. And I know it's like you drive in and it's ridiculous and it's flashing, and Chesley puts clever messages in the one in front of his house.
We did wind up paying for like a road crew to get that one put up, right? Didn't we wind up doing that?
I'm not sure how that went down.
But,
Oh, fair enough.
I think
Gotcha.
because it was on the other side of the street, we didn't need the.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right.
Yeah. So moving along, so we can take that out. That's good.
Okay.
Terrace Park extension improvement, 7,000. I don't know what that number should be, honestly, but
It sounds like we still have some work to do over there with the roots and seating and.
No, it's not that. We had people say you should put fences up everywhere. You should put benches in everywhere. And my take is let's give it time and see kind of how it's used and what people want. But at some point, there will be hard CapEx improvements there. Just don't know what they are. So
I'm okay leaving it there. Yeah.
As good as anything. 8-acre park entrance improvements. Now, I'd like to make that, can we call it 5,000? 5,000? And you may be going, what is that for? Now that we're here, so make it 5, not 15.
Yep.
What are we talking about here? So we did that work. And now you go down to the end and there's the park, and it worked, and it was great for the haunted trail. It's been a winner. But as Chuck prophesied, in fact, people park there.
Mm.
You might think that's good and you might think it's bad, but they do.
Yeah.
And Chuck thinks it's bad. And Chuck said you should put a gate there. The irony is the gate would actually be, I think, on Chuck's property. But Chuck might agree to have a gate put up there. I don't know. And then we'd have to give keys to.
We could put a lockbox. We put a lockbox with a key in it. probably.
Yeah,
But
Layfield and or something, and Chuck, us, and everybody and their mother, to be able to open it when needed or closed. Okay, so I want to let everybody know that that's in play. Where the gate would be, more or less, is at the end of Chapel Street.
directly across the road, essentially, right?
Directly across the road, and it would say no parking. Okay. And there would be no parking. Now, the good part is there'd be no cars. The bad part is if you happen to be have mobility issues, this would be problematic for you because you could not park there and go to the park. So I there are pluses and minuses here. I just want to let people know that that's in play, and we'd keep some money in the budget just in case we wanted to do something there.
Yeah, I think we should be mindful of accessibility and of the use of it. Who's parking there? Who's making use of it? And who would be impacted by a gate outside of Chuck, obviously.
Yeah, I agree. So everybody ought to be mindful of that, and please watch and collect data on it, because I'm interested as to what to do. On the other end of the spectrum is bringing in more. There's actually quite a lot down there, but bringing in more rocks or gravel. So you would actually facilitate the ability to park there.
Improve the ability to park there. Yeah.
Correct. So it could kind of go either way, and I'm still looking for data.
We think $5,000 would probably cover either of those endeavors.
I think
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
I don't want to put in 15 grand that we've got a giant amount. If somebody has a big plan, it doesn't have to be done right away. So this covers something. 5,000 is not a lot.
Yep.
It covers something.
It's not going to draw too many flies, in other words.
Yeah, and if it's a huge deal, then I think we really want to, think about it a lot before proceeding. Clifton Creek Park Trails. Okay. I don't know why.
I don't even know what that is. What's Clifton Creek Park? That's a Bluebird Trails or floodplain. Okay.
Floodplain and the trails there. I don't know why it's 20,000, but that's what that's for.
Did a proposal come in associated with that, Nick, or is that just carried over?
Carry over.
Okay.
I had heard some discussion about maybe taking the trail through the woods, making it a loop. I don't know if that's what it's referring to.
It is a loop. It actually is a loop, but it's not. Once upon a time there was no loop, but there's a loop now. But it's not as well used, and it doesn't have.
It's been about a year and a half since I walked it. Almost 2, I guess, I don't know, around this time last year when we were looking at potentially doing the haunted trail there. And there are a couple different ways you could make it a loop, but I don't know if I don't know what you're going to spend $20,000 on over there.
What do we want to make that 10,000?
I don't even know what it's for. So, or who's asking for it.
Clarity.
Improvements to the trail itself. If you had to put in some more rocks,
more trail bed or repair a footbridge or something.
Yep.
$5,000 or $10,000 seems reasonable, I guess. And if we don't have anything more around that,
put in 10.
Okay.
Purchase of green space. That was once upon a time. Where the going out Newman Road, we've got the Clifton town-owned property.
Yeah.
And then after that, it becomes like an open meadow with a couple butterfly gardens.
Yeah. Doesn't Peterson own part of that or something?
Yes. He originally asked us to buy that. And then I talked to him and he stopped talking about having us buy that. So that's what this amount was for.
Okay.
And
so
you know what?
That wasn't in here for the Air Square and Harris Park extension.
It was not, but it's a good thing we had it in there.
Yeah.
Because that came out of the blue and we had the money in there. I wonder if we leave some amount in here, but I don't know what. Or do we just take it to zero? So I haven't
I
heard
think, I
anything.
feel like that's the kind of thing where, you know,
If it comes up, we'll
if
deal
something
with it.
comes up, we meet and discuss. I realize things like that, you often have to move quickly, so it would be nice to have something in here, but without something concrete on the horizon, I don't know what makes sense to even put in here.
Yeah, and in this case, this was put in because it was very real. It was,
Yeah.
I want a commitment from you in order for me to buy this property. I want a commitment that the town will buy this parcel. And I gave a verbal okay, and we put it in the budget, but it never happened. So we'll leave the line item, but we can put the line item as 0 for this coming year. I don't know.
Sure. If there's a line item in there, what's required for us to increase that line item at any point during the year? Public hearing again?
Yep.
Well, I don't know. We'll meet again next week if anybody has any any
I'm
insights
all
or can
about-
get, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I'm all about purchasing green space. Like if
Yeah.
that was available, I'd be thrilled to purchase it. Like let's move this to $100,000, okay? Because there are parcels that might come up in
Sure.
town
Okay,
that would be that amount or less. That if they did come up, we'd like to be able to move quickly on them. 300, that's a different animal.
yeah, I know,
Um,
yeah, okay.
Yeah, you
That
may
seems,
know,
that seems a little more reasonable, I think.
yeah, and you may have some idea what the thought might be there. Yeah.
All right.
Public parking improvements.
It's not mine.
Hey, Nick,
fine.
you might want to change your note for that
Yeah.
line that says leave. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. That's good.
There are a couple above here I didn't do, okay? I skipped permanent signs and safety signs because I wanted to do the others first.
Okay,
Because I wasn't sure what those meant without talking about the others. Caboose.
Talk
and
safety
mobile-
signs was the traffic solutions.
yeah, we talked through those a little bit. Do we want to leave something in there or no?
No, we did.
You were joking.
Well,
That's right, yeah.
No, but permanent signs,
No idea.
well, the Harris Park signs are somewhere in this
Yeah,
budget.
Harris
Maybe
Park,
this
okay.
is it. Maybe
That's not
this
the
is it.
Harris Park extension improvement.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
permanent signs, I think, was 2 signs for $3,000 each. So this is fine. Leave this in
Okay.
here.
All right.
Should we make it like historic or what do we call that? Informational signage or something? Permanent signs is a weird concept unless it's trying to be obtuse.
I think it's, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we want to have it broad enough to be able to capture something else, but it sounds like you've got relatively specific information for what this is. Okay.
So are we okay with permanent signs, but we know that this is actually the historic informational signage is what we're talking about here?
There's a note on the line now, so I think we're probably okay with that.
Okay. So we're doing the Harriet and William Harris sign, and then there's the Beckwith sign. And then we're thinking about, although we do not control the property, possibly having a sign at Primitive Baptist as well, which goes perfectly with those other 2.
And the history committee would cover getting all that squared away?
Yes.
But from a budgeting standpoint, the cost of the signs would come out of this.
Yes.
Okay. And it's
Yeah.
covered in that 6K.
Well, the first one should be, I hope, this year. And so this is really for the 2 additional.
Okay.
So that's good. So everybody,
All right.
so everybody knows what this is.
Okay.
Acre Park, Big Creek Park, public parking improvements. I don't know what that is, but
Was this from a prior year to maybe pave the railroad siding or something?
I think it is, but and I think things like restriping would be covered by this as well, but
That would be a capital expenditure, or would that be a maintenance?
I don't know. Is Reagan around here?
Yeah, I'm still on, Bill.
It's right here. So he has caboose maintenance, paint and stencil, 20 grand is the big one, spring of 2023. And then there's a luggage cart for 4 grand, but this is what makes up the 25.
Spring of
Okay.
23, we're halfway through there.
He's
What
actually
about-
working on it right now.
What about public parking improvements?
Yeah,
Bill,
Bill, can you hear me?
yes.
Okay,
Right.
I switched over to my phone. Yeah, I'd like to keep something in public parking improvements. I think that the paving that we did and the restriping and all that stuff, the ADA was part of that. But one item that I'd like to explore is putting a light over the floodplain parking area. There's a pole right there that's a telecom pole that we'd have to run power to potentially, but it's just a dark area. And
we put
if when the streetscape goes, we will be shifting folks down there and encouraging them to use that. And it's pretty dark down there at night.
Okay. How much public parking improvements?
Probably 5. We don't need the 20 or whatever that was on there before.
Well, it's 5 right now.
5. I'd
So
leave it at
5?
5 then.
All
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Next, caboose and luggage cart renovation. We need money in here. We should think hard about improving the exterior of the caboose. This amount is significant. It wouldn't be expended without a lot of thought. Painting is nowhere near that. That's for interior, exterior windows and all that stuff. But it seems like we ought to think about doing something with the caboose.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Do we have a champion for this project? Somebody who's willing to really take it on and make it happen?
Not really. There's an expert on it. John Powell spent years on this, but he is not interested in leading the charge on getting it done. I think if we have the budget, then if the champion comes forward, we can do it because we got the funding. So I don't think this is committing you and I to go do it, but rather that if a
earmarking funds in the event that somebody raises their hand.
Yeah, which is good.
It's kind of demonstrating our support if somebody wants to do it, right?
Exactly. That's exactly right. I will note that Chris Spina approached me and he had heard about this idea where with what I assume is oil-based paint, that you can treat railroad cars that have been sitting out in the sun with linseed oil and some other thing that effectively re-nourishes. It's like oil of Olay for your railroad car. And instead of like dried out, faded color, it comes back. Okay, and with this process, with this oil and some other things. So we thought about actually trying that on a small area. Because if you can do that, then you bring the paint back.
Do we know what type of paint was used when we last did it? It's not like exterior latex, is it?
I'm sure it's not that, but somebody knows. Somebody.
Okay.
Wayne, I think Wayne picked the paint, and I think Dwayne Nitz knows what it is.
That sounds vaguely familiar. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know. Reagan, do you happen to know?
I remember that Dwayne spec'd it. We turned the contractor loose. There was some paint buckets underneath. There might still be one in the caboose someplace. Maybe not. But as far as I know, they used what Dwayne recommended. But it was a miss, obviously, because other cabooses around don't look like that. So it's going to have to be a pretty good scrape job, and potentially grinding down that area or whatever, and then kind of going from there. But it shouldn't cost as much as it does to do a house, You
Right,
know,
of course not.
which
Yeah.
I had my house painted. It was not, not that, but not cheap, but it's not, it's not 20, it's not 5.
All right.
So what do you think of that number, Reagan? 25 too high? Do you want that lower? 15? 20?
Yeah, unless we're talking about restoring the inside, which we're really not, because it's in pretty good shape. Nobody's got the passion for collecting up all the widgets to make it look like it used to look. Getting it painted, I think, is key, because it's the it's the centerpiece of the town, and it's really,
It could be. Yeah.
it's in tough shape. It's in tough shape.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
All right, what number? What number do you want?
We
there?
got 15 in there now, Bill. I think that's what we're going with.
Oh, okay. I'm not watching the screen. Should be. Then I know what the budget was. Luggage cart renovation. This is another one people complain about, but nobody wants to deal with. But
That's part of the same thing, right? Same line.
yeah, it is. I'm just pointing it out, not for dollars, but as a thing. Like, yes, it's broken down. Frankly, I could never really figure out what that thing was anyway and why it was there. I don't know. Maybe those are really cool. I'm no expert. But nobody's kind of taken that on as a project, but there it is.
Maybe it needs signage.
Signage, yeah. We could put one of those informational signs about luggage carts. I have to diverge on this. I like stuff like history of luggage carts. I told my kids the other day I researched the history of cabbage. It's quite interesting. So, by the way, I don't know if you people know, the cabbages we get, like a size of a bowling ball, are baby cabbages. If given proper sunlight, they continue to grow. The largest cabbage on record is 138 pounds. In Alaska, they just keep growing.
That's a lot of cabbage.
They're the size of, a lot of cabbage. That's right. They're the size of, I don't know, like 4 or 5 feet in diameter. It's unbelievable. So there's a little something if you want to look up the history.
That'll make a lot of coleslaw.
Yeah. History of cabbage. I recommend it. Pink house improvements is a blank. What is the deal with that? Reagan, thoughts? I don't know what that even meant.
Yeah, I think that gets back into windows and siding and things like that. That eventually it's going to need that painting. That's the capital type stuff.
Should we put a number in here?
Is paint a CapEx?
If it's over a
Paint
certain amount, can it
shouldn't
be or no?
I don't think paint
should
is.
be. I don't think
siding is.
siding would be. I don't think paint is. Yeah.
All right, right now, I like the line item. Right now it's 0. We do have maintenance and stuff, but this says for the forthcoming year, we do not see renovating the pink house, which honestly, I agree with that. By the way, I could see, here's a scenario. If the elections go some strange way and the Republicans sweep this area, highly unlikely, and new people are delegates and senators, and they don't want to be in the pink house, all of a sudden we'd have the pink house rear building, and we might go, boy, that'd be a really cool town facility for meetings, for office space or whatever, and we might want to go in and spend $10,000
Fixing it up for ourselves. Yeah.
Improving, exactly. But we're not planning on doing that now because we know that Dan and George are going to win. But in a year, we might be back here going, you know what? Why don't we think about that? Right now, there are no such plans on the books. And we're hoping there, won't be. But that's the kind of thing that might happen here. Okay. Town historic building. I don't know. We leave it in there. It's a blank. This was at one point the manse, which nobody was interested in. And then we talked about the primitive Baptist, and that's kind of gone nowhere. There's nothing on the table as we sit here.
As far as this is acquiring a historic building, the town is acquiring an historic building that it doesn't already own.
Yes, yes, yes. And acquiring could be, Daryl, acquiring could be a long-term lease, like if we had a 50-year lease.
Sure.
And we put capital into it as if we were the owner. Yeah.
Mm.
So it would be us becoming the custodian
Of
of a
some,
historic building, which our view is we would not do unless we were like an owner of the building. So we're not just going to say, oh, we love your building, here's money. But something that was, and really the difference would be historic building that would be a community resource.
right.
Place for people to meet. We put up historic, whatever.
Some of that stuff you got in storage.
Yeah, stuff like that. But right now, there are no such plans. But if there ever are, that's where this would go.
Okay.
Okay, so that took care of permanent signs. 8-acre park. Okay, so we got everything done other than streetscape, which looks okay to me. By the way, what does map 21 tap 200K mean?
Where are we at?
I'm just looking at the streetscape, I guess.
Oh,
Federal grants, map 21 tap statewide 80. Does that mean that's the 80 grand that's put in through the grant? And then there's
100 that goes out.
Yeah, because
That sounds that yeah, I think that checks out.
Okay.
From a math perspective, again, I don't, I'll let the treasurer
That's fine.
comment officially.
That's fine.
yeah, that's a let it ride, but that is the right math.
Okay. That's fine. I look for input from others, but it's okay with me. And this is kind of what I was thinking was, note this has 2A design. This is like revising the design and obtaining easements were the two things that were going to take us. I mean, honestly, kind of sad it's 100 grand to take us to decision time, but that's better than 500 or 600 grand. Okay.
I know there was talk at the last council meeting about a specific streetscape meeting with the streetscape committee. Has that happened? Did I miss it? Or is it TBD?
There's no meeting set up. There should be a meeting, and it's right along the lines of what we're talking about for budgeting purposes, meaning what do we think we're actually going to spend. I get people asking me what's up with streetscape from time to time, and my answer is I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we're waiting to see what happens with the utilities. The idea was maybe we should have a public meeting. They're all public meetings, but not a town council meeting where we spend an hour and a half on streetscape, but rather a separate meeting that's focused on streetscape. And honestly, more than one. Okay, a few.
I mean, my comment is that I think that's what's been missing the past several years is any kind of PR around that project. There really hasn't been very much public relations to keep us and the public up to date on what's been happening.
And what the plans are, what it takes, what we're doing to get from here to there. And then we'd hear from people, because I know that my understanding is the streetscape will lose a number of parking spots as a result of the streetscape. So we'll have less parking. The road will be more constricted, better for pedestrians because cars will be forced to go very slowly and not as many of them will be able to park. And then you've got the whole utility thing. And I don't know if people looking at it now, I understand 10, 12 years ago when we did the initial streetscape design that people were like, oh, that's really cool. What the people and the businesses would think about it today. I I just don't know, like the parking in front of the pub goes away. And I don't know whether they go, no, we're not on board with this anymore. And if that's the case, then we need to know about that. And
I think there's been enough turnover in both in the town and with the businesses in town that it seems only reasonable that we represent what the plan is and gather input.
And I don't want the people on the streetscape committee to be laboring away on this with such good intentions and such hard work, if in fact it looks like something that might not happen, because I view my job, our job as a council, to represent the community. And if the community, as we sit here today, says no, on whole, I don't think this is something we should do, or we should do the streetscape but not the utilities, or we should do the utilities but not the streetscape, I don't know. That
I don't foresee that scenario.
I don't either. I thought the cost for that it didn't make sense. And I know when we started the streetscape, I think was 700,000 or something, and we were going to put in 200,000. And it's now, gone up by 2-3 times and may go up again. And that's what happens over time. But if people look at that, what they're going to think. And again, I don't want the streetscape committee to be laboring away on something where the community might say, that's not where we want. So to me, this was always about get the design done so we can say to people, here's what it is, here's how much it costs, and the landowners who we need have all signed up. So everybody's on board. What do you guys think? Everybody go, yeah, let's do it. And we'd hit the big button and the machine would start processing. That's kind of where I was hoping that we would get. And I don't want to push the big button without knowing that the community's behind us. Heaven forbid we do that. We let the construction contracts. By the way, when we let the contracts, as we sit here today, it's just whatever it costs, we write the check. So literally it could bankrupt the town. We don't know. Okay. We'd have to be really, really devoted. And when it starts happening, we can't have people running out of their houses going, oh my gosh, what are you doing? We need people to go, oh yes, oh, the streetscape, I love it. We've all talked about it. Everybody needs to be joining hands on this one. And as Daryl said, in order to do that, they need to know what it is that's being done.
Yeah.
And that feeds into the budget, that we get to. And the reason I'm talking so much about this now is in the past, we had carryover. But I got the feeling from our last council meeting that it was go time on this, and assume that, we're spending the real money in the next 6 months or so. So now I think it really is time.
Yeah. The sense I got was that that we were all at a yes, and we were proceeding as though everybody's a yes on the streetscape. And I think that's generally been the attitude, is the streetscape is something we're working towards, but it's been this thing kind of in the background that we're working towards and making little bits of progress. But, time goes by and you look back and realize, it's been 3 years since COVID. Right. And I mean,
yes.
We had a meeting sometime in probably 2018 or something with a design that was up on the, projector in the town hall, and everybody got to see, oh, that looks pretty. It'll be really great. And that was before we even started talking about utility and undergrounding. So it's just time gets away from you. And that's been, I think, long overdue since we've had a meaningful presentation of what we're really contemplating.
And public engagement.
Yep.
Thoughts? Anyone else?
I think the committee should be weighing in on the numbers that are in this budget.
Agreed.
They should at least be giving us some input. The numbers that we have there just seem to be carryover numbers, and that's what's gotten us to this point. So.
Okay, fair enough. Next steps, I think there,
We're same time, same place next week, right? For the
yeah,
next meeting.
Nick, can you send this revised thing out to everybody?
I've just sent it. You should have it any minute.
Okay, so we got the revised, everybody go through it. I know we should have all been staring at the numbers and said, yes, it's perfect. And maybe it is, but I know I wasn't. So everybody should look through and go, yep, that's what I remember. That's what I remember. And my recollection is there are literally only 3 or 4 numbers here that are in play, as well as the streetscape. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Half a dozen, maybe, Matt?
I think action items for next week. I need to talk with John Marshall Bank and then shore up our interest analysis. And then
Yeah, I've got a request out, and I'll shake some other trees on, you know, potential for, you know, basically e-commerce and, you know, onlining our current paper processes for reservations, applications, et cetera, taking payments.
Yep.
And Zoom, so Nick's
Yep.
looking into Zoom, okay. And you know what we didn't look at? I didn't look at, but everybody should, is comparing the revenues to expenses to see where we are. And when you do that, you know, the expenses will be higher than the revenues as a general rule. But there's a number of items in there for, you know,
Expenses that we don't actually spend, right?
yeah, it
well,
came in just about 36K under. I think that meets conservative expensing budgeting.
36 under meaning
36K.
We're in the red,
Deficit,
roughly 36K. Yeah.
and then you'd look to see whether we've got approximately that amount in these various legal fees, you know, they're for what if things go
The
horribly
buffer
wrong.
accounts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they do, we're in good shape.
Including like a very low haunted trail revenue amount and all that sort of stuff. So
Yeah, so that
it looks pretty good. It's a great first pass. I don't think the next meeting will be long as Daryl and I get our 2 accounts figured out, especially the interest with John Marshall Bank, which I've already sent out a feeler. We'll get that sorted.
We'll have our poop in a group by next week.
Okay, good. I don't know what that means, but it sounds good.
Get your S together.
Oh.
Poop in a group.
Okay. All right, I'll leave that to you.
What a great way to close it there.
Motion to adjourn. Do we need a motion to adjourn?
We will, but don't forget the cabbages. Okay, and
Get the. It's almost 10:30 p.m. Come on.
we made a motion to adjourn. I'll second that. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I think Pat is snoring.
No, I said aye.
Oh, you said aye? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I thought you wanted to keep going. Abstentions, all right, carries, and we are wrapped for tonight.
Thanks everybody.
Well done,
See you next
everyone.
week.